Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. One Piece, Retired Admiral, starting in Nika form. Chapter 1. Admiral Lingyun, thank you for your contribution to world justice. The Navy and the world government will always record your great achievements. Marineford, the Navy headquarters. The densely packed Navy soldiers all saluted solemnly. In front of them at this moment is an old man with vigorous spirit. He can still vaguely see the handsomeness and elegance of his youth, and still has the extraordinary temperament of a strong man. It is Admiral Lingyun. I didn't expect that after traveling here for 60 years, I finally retired today. Lingyun smiled and waved to the many Navy soldiers in front of him. He left in a boat in a chic manner, and laughed to himself. That's right, Lingyun is a traveler. 75 years ago, his soul traveled to a baby here. As a traveler, he does not have the so-called golden finger. But he has a decent talent. So he joined the Navy since he was sensible. After practicing hard, he has achieved a strong body of physical skills. And extremely profound observation hockey. Even able to predict the short future. Maintain justice in the world, promote good and punish evil. And made great achievements on the battlefield. After more than 40 years. He finally climbed to the position of Admiral, which symbolizes the highest combat power of the Navy. He became one of the 3 admirals of the same period as Sengoku and Zephyr. He was under the command of the then Navy Marshal Kong. Now, Kong was promoted to the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies. Sengoku was promoted to the Navy Marshal. Zephyr suffered a serious blow and retreated behind the scenes to teach the strong for the Navy. The 3 admirals of the Navy were also replaced by newcomers. As the last veteran admiral, Lingyun was also tired of the life of fighting and killing. So he resigned from the Navy. It can be regarded as making room for the newcomers. Will be towards his life, Lingyun's mouth slightly raised. Although he didn't have a golden finger in his life. But after traveling here, he is famous and loved by countless Navy soldiers and civilians. This life is worth it. Old man, I'm leaving, you don't have to see me off. He declined the farewell of the Navy. Lingyun rode alone and left leisurely. However, suddenly, a mechanical sound sounded from his mind. Ding, the strongest killing system is successfully bound. Do you want to activate it immediately and receive the novice gift package? The mechanical sound in his mind made Lingyun stunned. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Good guy. Your system is delayed so much. You're here just now. I'm already 75 years old. And I've retired. But even so, Lingyun still curiously checked his golden finger. So that's it. This system can allow me to gain powerful strength and obtain attribute points by killing strong men. Attribute points can be added to the 3-color domineering, physical skills, etc., and even unlock the second devil fruit ability. It's rare. Lingyun couldn't help but smile. But I'm tired of the life of killing, so I won't activate it for now. If this system appeared when I just crossed over, I must activate it without hesitation. But in front of this old man who has already become one of the world's top strongmen and has been fighting for decades, it really doesn't have much appeal. Leave the life of fighting and killing to the young people, the old man should still go fishing and play mahjong. Just laughing, suddenly, in front of his boat, 3 figures appeared. Lingyun was stunned. Then he grinned. It's you 3 little guys. The people who came were not others. It was the 3 generals of today. Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji. As his successors, their teacher is Zephyr. But he also taught them the observation hockey sincerely, so it is not too much to call him a teacher. Are you 3 here to see me off? Seeing the 3 people coming, Lingyun was relieved. He smiled and spoke immediately. However, what responded to him were the cold faces of the 3 people. Akainu stepped forward first. His domineering aura surged. His whole body turned into boiling magma. I'm sorry, former General Lingyun. We are indeed here to see you off. Lingyun was startled. He naturally felt something was wrong with the situation in front of him. What do you mean? His face darkened immediately. He asked in a deep voice. Lingyun, in view of your long-term disobedience to the jurisdiction of the Celestial Dragons, you spread dangerous ideas that hate the Celestial Dragons. And deliberately don't rescue the Celestial Dragons in danger. Now the 3 of us are ordered by the 5 elders of the world government to completely eliminate you. There was no emotion in Akainu's eyes. The tone was cold, as if he was issuing an order. Looking at Lingyun, it was as if he was looking at a dying person. What did you say? Lingyun couldn't help but tremble when he heard it. There was an unbelievable look in his eyes. As a retired general with great military exploits, I just retired, and the world government can't help but get rid of me. Aren't you afraid of chilling the hearts of countless Marines by doing this? Quote. As a modern man who traveled to the pirate world, he naturally hated the celestial dragons. So he refused the mission of rescuing the celestial dragons several times. But even so, he also captured countless vicious pirates. He made countless military achievements. But now, he has just retired. The world government can't wait to wipe him out. It's just that you didn't obey orders as a soldier. The world government has tolerated you for a long time. Akainu replied indifferently. Hearing this answer, Lingyun, who felt that his righteousness was wasted, couldn't help but tremble with anger. I'm sorry, Teacher Lingyun. Kizaru sighed lightly. Aokiji on the side took a deep breath and said nothing. Lingyun, don't worry, the world government will publicize your great achievements. On the day of retirement, he was attacked by the 4 emperors Whitebeard and Kaido one after another, and finally died tragically. Quote. People and Navy soldiers all over the world will remember you, and you should be content. Akainu shouted angrily. Immediately, the fist turned into boiling magma, and in an instant it turned into a huge dog head. It bit towards Lingyun. Hell dog. At the same time, Aokiji and Kizaru attacked at the same time. Yashikani no Magatama. Burst pheasant mouth. Boom. The 3 current admirals of the Navy formed a triangle at the same time, and their first move was a killing move. They did not hold back on their former colleagues. Puff. Quote. Lingyun attacked repeatedly. Powerful 2-color domineering emerged. Relying on the observation haki that could briefly see the future, he avoided the opponent's killing moves one after another. But, after all, they were 3 generals. Plus he was old and his strength was no longer at its peak. Naturally he was beaten back step by step and vomited blood one after another. Lingyun, today we 3 generals will attack together, you will definitely not be able to escape, just surrender obediently. Akainu snorted coldly. Okay. Quote. Hearing this, Lingyun sneered. At this time, blood was flowing from the corners of his mouth, and blood was flowing on his body. Looking at the 3 new generals who were once very familiar to him with resentful eyes, he couldn't help but show sarcasm on his face and laughed up to the sky. This is what the Navy calls justice. Not only the dogs of the celestial dragons, but even the generals with glorious achievements must die, and they can't even tolerate it for one more day. Quote. You thought I was blind before, so from now on, I will become a killer. While speaking, his eyes revealed a mad and tyrannical look. Lingyun shouted in his heart. Activate. The next moment. Ding, the strongest killing system is activated successfully. Gift packs for beginners are being distributed. Awakening ability, the human fruit mythical beast species Nika form. Boom, a majestic breath rose to the sky. A terrifying momentum swept across. What's going on? Akainu and the other 2 were shocked and angry. They looked at the scene in disbelief. They saw that Lingyun, who was besieged by the 3, had a head full of bright white hair and was surrounded by a white airflow like smoke. He opened his mouth wide, covered his eyes and laughed wantonly. Ha 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 ha. Then he looked down at the 3. A playful smile flashed across his eyes. Sakazuki, you still miscalculated. What? At this time, the 3 Akainu were shocked. Because they had known Lingyun for so long, but they had never seen Lingyun in this form. Humph, playing tricks, although they didn't know what was going on. But Akainu was still confident. There were 3 generals on his side. How could Lingyun turn the tables? However, Lingyun moved, and his fists extended rapidly in an instant, like a fierce artillery shell bombardment. What? Akainu and the other 2 were shocked and tried to resist. While resisting, they showed an expression of disbelief. Because they clearly remembered that Lingyun was not a fruit ability user. But what happened to his arm extension just now? And how could his ability be so similar to that of a newcomer, Straw Hat Luffy, who had just gone to sea not long ago? Ha 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 ha, Sakazuki, Kuzan, Borsellino, come and fight. The extremely profound observation haki emerged. Ling Yun relied on this ability to briefly meet the future, combined with the newly acquired Nika form. The powerful speed and strength made him feel full of fighting spirit. Ling Yun, no matter what, you must die today. A ruthless look flashed across his eyes. Akainu roared, his fists pointed at Ling Yun in the distance, and the hot magma sprayed out into a huge magma fireball. Meteor volcano. It was as if the world was destroyed, and it attacked Ling Yun all over the place. Ha ha ha, come on. But Ling Yun smiled proudly. He grabbed the ground with both hands and lifted it up. The earth instantly turned into rolling rubber. Like a raging sea. It faced the meteor volcano high up. Countless magma fireballs were blocked. Immediately, I saw Ling Yun stomping on the ground. The whole person was ejected like a cannonball. What? Such a fast speed. Akainu and the other two were shocked, but before they could react, I saw Ling Yun was already in front of Akainu. Boom. A heavy punch hit Akainu's body. Puff. He suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood. His previous body seemed to stretch out long like rubber. Ahem. When Akainu retreated, his face was full of shock and anger. I didn't expect that you actually hid such power. I haven't seen you show this kind of devil fruit ability for so long. It seems that you have had a different mind for a long time. Immediately, he turned his head to look at Kizaru and Aokiji and shouted loudly. Things have changed, let's go together. Originally, he thought that he only needed himself to take down this old veteran general. But now it seems that they still need to work together. With the unique skills of any of the three generals alone, they are no match for Ling Yun. Ha ha ha, how ridiculous. Ling Yun showed a sneer on his face. If the world government hadn't killed him, why would he activate the system and show this kind of power? Go, Sword of the Sky, Ice Spears. Immediately, Kizaru condensed a lightsaber in his hand, and the cold air around Aokiji froze into shape, condensing several spears. Go, swish, swish, swish. With the sound of breaking through the air, the sharp spears aimed at Ling Yun and shot out one after another. And Kizaru turned into a stream of light, and appeared silently behind Ling Yun. Slashed with a sword, big fire spear, Akainu roared and rushed again. The three current admirals attacked at the same time. Ha 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 ha, let's fight. Ling Yun saw the three people coming together. Not only was there no fear on his face, but he was even more eager to fight. The power symbolizing freedom surged throughout his body. It made his whole body extremely light, as if he had the super physical strength and self-healing ability after the awakening of the animal system. And the surrounding environment turned into rubber, becoming his. With his own means of attack, coordinated with his own super observation haki. While twisting his body, a giant palm that instantly grew larger and extended attacked Akainu. At the same time, he stomped his face on the ground. The ground rolled like waves, resisting all of Aokiji's attacks. At the same time, he also swept his foot across, and collided with the Aim no Kurosakumo sword behind him. A terrifying strong wind swept away. Ling Yun fought against three people alone, and he was not much inferior at all. How is it possible? Akainu and the other two changed their faces drastically. They were able to compete with the three of them together. What a terrifying power. You know, they are already close to the top strong men on the sea. When the three of them joined forces, even the four emperors could hardly resist. But Ling Yun did it. HMPH. A muffled groan came from his mouth. The simultaneous attack of the three people made Ling Yun's blood and chi churn. Although he resisted the attacks of the three people, but he still suffered some minor injuries. After all, awakening the Nika form is not enough to defy the heavens. If I can kill to gain attribute points and activate the second devil fruit ability, I should be able to deal with their three admirals, right? The eyes flickered. Ling Yun thought so. I can become a general with my observation haki and powerful physical skills alone. After awakening the Nika form, I can barely compete with the three admirals. Then with another powerful devil fruit ability, I guess I can kill them back, right? I still need to leave as soon as possible and gain a lot of attribute points to improve myself. As a former admiral of the Navy, Ling Yun is very clear about the terrifying background of the world government. Now, only part of the strongest combat power of the Navy has been dispatched. The world government hasn't moved out yet. Ha 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 ha, Sakazuki. It seems that you three can't stop me today. He raised a teasing smile. Ling Yun laughed loudly. That's right, although he would almost certainly lose if he continued to fight for a long time in front of the three admirals. But with his current strength, I want to leave, relying on the three admirals. They can't stop him. Sakazuki, listen to me, the three of you. The Navy is the world government's donkey. I will remember it in my heart, and I will settle this account with you for the rest of my life. You, just wash your necks and wait. Ha 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 ha. Ling Yun laughed wantonly, and immediately turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the sky in an instant. Only Akainu and the other two were left, watching Ling Yun leave arrogantly from afar. With an extremely ugly face. What? He escaped. In the holy land of Mary Joa, Pangu City. The five elders looked at the three generals in front of them, their faces extremely angry. Originally, they secretly sent out the three generals now, just to strangle Ling Yun in the dark. Only in this way can the original general Ling Yun disappear directly, so that it is impossible to spread negative news about the world government and even the celestial dragons through Ling Yun's mouth. I thought that if the three generals acted at the same time, it would be foolproof. Who would have thought? In this case, he could actually break out of the siege. It's incredible. Yes. Seeing the scolding of the five elders, Akainu and the other two nodded with ugly faces. What's going on? Tell me. This is what happened. After the three generals finished speaking, the five elders were horrified and looked at each other. You mean? His behavior has become weird compared to before, and he often laughs. As if he has a second form. Is his strength able to compete with the three of you together? Yes. Akainu nodded. He gnashed his teeth, obviously unwilling to accept it. At that time, if the three of them could catch up with Ling Yun, it is very likely that Ling Yun would be left behind. However, Ling Yun, who has that strange and special form, is too fast. I want to catch up. Only Kizaru has this ability. But if Kizaru goes to hunt Ling Yun alone, relying on his powerful strength that can barely compete with the three of them together, isn't that courting death? However, unlike Akainu, the five elders were furious at this time, and exchanged glances with each other. They all saw the doubt in each other's eyes. But then, after thinking for a while, they shook their heads again. It shouldn't be. It's really unlikely. After all, the ability of the fruit is on that kid, how could it appear on Ling Yun? Well, it should just be a resemblance. The strange conversation between the five elders made the three generals confused. But it was obvious that they didn't want to explain. Instead, they looked at the silent Zhongguo. Zhongguo. Yes, I am. HMPH, this Ling Yun, when he retired, actually still hides his powerful strength. He must have ulterior motives. Maybe he has been undercover in the Navy for a long time, and he has some ulterior motives. You should immediately send someone to spread the news among the people, saying that General Ling Yun was discovered to be an undercover, killed his colleagues, and has now betrayed the Navy. In this way, if Ling Yun can be found and killed by us quickly, the Navy will come forward to refute the rumors and clear his name for Ling Yun. But if we can't find him and eliminate him quickly, once he makes any negative remarks or hostile actions against the Navy from the world government, your Navy will immediately respond to the rumors and issue a bounty order. It is necessary to minimize the negative impact that may occur to us and put the blame on Ling Yun. Do you understand? I understand. Zhongguo heard this and sighed silently in his heart. He and Ling Yun are old acquaintances, and their relationship is pretty good. But now they can only go to the opposite side, which is also a trick of fate. Alas, we can only pray that he will do nothing after escaping and hide in seclusion so that the Navy will not find him. Immediately, the five elders issued an order. The world government and the Navy jointly dispatched a large number of people. In the name of eliminating pirates, they searched for Ling Yun's traces all over the world. At the same time, on the sea, a handsome old man was flying fast on the sea. Look at his face. It was Ling Yun who had just escaped and still maintained the Nika form. At this time, he was on his way to the Sabayati archipelago. He was still muttering to himself. So that's it. The strongest killing system. Killing strong people can gain a lot of attribute points. The stronger the person killed, the more attributes you will gain. Not only that, killing the ruler of this world can also gain a lot of attribute points. Isn't that teaching me to kill the celestial dragons? Even, kill the 5 elders and I am behind them. Let's not talk about the 5 elders and I am. There must be many strong people in the Holy Land, Mary Joa. And let alone I am, even the 5 elders have never seen them take action. I don't know how strong they are. To be safe, let's not touch them first. So, there are only 2 options left, killing strong people and celestial dragons. Speaking of this, Ling Yun's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing a dangerous smile. Compared to strong, I prefer to kill the celestial dragons. Quote, the reason is very simple. This time the 3 great generals surrounded and killed me. The fundamental reason was the celestial dragons. I went against the will of the celestial dragons, and in their opinion, I deserved to die. As the world's nobles, they are so domineering. This attack also made Ling Yun have a strong killing intent towards the celestial dragons, whom he already hated so much. Secondly, naturally, it was because most of the celestial dragons were stupid and foolish, and their strength was extremely low. They could only rely on the powerful navy to protect them. Killing them is risk-free. Of course, there are exceptions for others. Because anyone who attacks the celestial dragons will attract the admirals of the navy. And are you kidding? I am afraid of the admirals of the navy. After killing the celestial dragons and gaining a large number of attribute points, he will not retreat even if the 3 admirals come together. Just landed on the Sabayati archipelago. Have you heard that there is a big event in the 4 Emperors Whitebeard Pirates? It seems that a member named Teach has rebelled. I heard about it too. It is said that he attacked his companions for a devil fruit, and he ran away immediately after successfully snatching it. Isn't that right? This is the iron rule of the Whitebeard Pirates. They are not allowed to kill each other. So they directly sent the captain of the second team, Ace the Fire Fist, to hunt them down. The powerful observation hockey allowed Ling Yun to hear other people's discussions from afar. As the only way to the Grand Route on the sea, the news on the Sabayati archipelago has always been very fast. However, Ling Yun just curled his lips when he heard it. He knew that the war at the top would be in the near future, but he didn't care. At this time, he only cared about one thing. That was to kill the celestial dragons on the Sabayati archipelago. Thus, he could obtain a large number of attribute points, improve his strength as quickly as possible. Then, he would launch the most violent revenge on the navy and the world government. This was the only thing he cared about at the moment. The murderous intent in his eyes flashed. Ling Yun casually asked passers-by, and easily found out the traces of the celestial dragons on the archipelago. There was no way. These idiots who thought they were world nobles were so high profile everywhere, it was hard not to find them. The auction venue in Shampoo. Are they auctioning slaves again? Ling Yun's mouth corners slightly raised. He showed a teasing smile. He walked slowly towards the auction venue. Everyone, the next auction item is the newly captured fishman. The starting price is 1 million Baileys. All bid 1,100,000. 1,200,000. All bid 1,300,000. The atmosphere in the auction hall was hot. Sitting in the main seat below was a Tianlong, wearing a bubble hood that showed disdain for breathing the same air as ordinary people. At this time, he sneered with disdain on his face. All bid 10 million. When these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. Some people nearby couldn't help but come forward and flatter. Master Tianlong is so generous. That's right. For a while, the sound of flattery continued. And in the crowd of the auction hall, there was a silver-haired old man who was sighing with admiration on his face. The celestial dragons are rich. Unlike me. Alas, I gambled all my money away recently. Looking closely, although this old man is old, he still seems to be very strong. This man is the right hand of the pirate king, Pluto Rayleigh. As he was talking, suddenly, boom, a loud noise sounded. A huge hole appeared on the wall of the auction venue. A handsome old man walked in slowly. What happened? Is someone trying to rob the auction venue? Could it be a vicious pirate? Suddenly, the entire auction venue was in turmoil. Various exclamations rang out one after another. But soon, someone recognized it. No, don't be afraid, it's former Admiral Ling Yun. That's good. I thought it was a pirate invasion. Why did Admiral Ling Yun suddenly come here? Is there a big pirate hiding here? Big pirate? Which big pirate is worthy of sending out the Admiral of the Navy? That's not right. Admiral Ling Yun has retired, and it should be the current admiral who comes. Everyone was talking about it, with puzzled faces. But at the same time, they were looking around. See if there are any hidden big pirates. Did they find me? Rayleigh was startled, and then grinned. He had been hiding in the Sabayati archipelago for so many years. Was he finally discovered? However, in the confused eyes of everyone, he saw the former admiral of the Navy Ling Yun looking around. Then his eyes lit up. Here, Celestial Dragon, he said with a smile. Ling Yun walked towards the Celestial Dragon slowly. Did the Celestial Dragon give this former Navy admiral an order to do it? Just when everyone was puzzled, Ling Yun had already walked in front of the Celestial Dragon. Are you the former Navy Admiral Ling Yun? The Celestial Dragon looked disdainful, looking at this admiral-level strongman who symbolized the highest combat power of the Navy, and said slowly. There was not much respect in his tone. It was even as if he was looking at a servant. What, do you want to follow me now after retiring? With contempt in his eyes. He would never have thought that the former Navy admiral in front of him actually came to kill him. After all, in this world dominated by the Celestial Dragons, no one is allowed to attack the Celestial Dragons, not to mention killing them. But today, Ling Yun wants to be the first one. A dangerous smile appeared on Ling Yun's face. Looking at the eyes of this Tianlong man, it was as if he was looking at a dead person. What do you want to do? Instantly, this Tianlong man had an extremely dangerous omen in his heart for no reason. His hair stood up all over his body. Go on your way with peace of mind. Ling Yun would naturally not give him any chance. Immediately, a finger gun was fired. Swish, as fast as lightning. When the finger was retracted, the face of this Tianlong man became extremely terrified. At the same time, it was extremely pale. Puff. Instantly, blood gushed out from the throat. This Tianlong man trembled all over, staring at Ling Yun in front of him. A face full of disbelief. He never expected this former Navy admiral actually dared to attack the world nobles, the Tianlong people. Plop. This Tianlong man fell to the ground and died completely. At this time, everyone around was shocked, staring at everything in front of them in a daze. The whole place was silent, as if they were all shocked. The whole world seemed to be quiet. I don't know how long it took before a scream was heard. This broke the strange silence. The Celestial Dragon was killed. Quote. The voice was filled with extreme fear and shock. Oh no, the Celestial Dragons were killed, and the world is going to change. Quote. Why did General Ling Yun kill the Celestial Dragons? Run away. The Navy's highest combat power is coming. Quote. In an instant, everyone rushed to the exit in a panic. The world's noble Celestial Dragons were killed in front of them. Those who saw it with their own eyes might also be implicated and liquidated. If you don't run now, when will you run? Get out of the way. Quote. Get out of the way. Do you want to die? Quote. Stop pushing, the exit is blocked. The scene was in chaos for a while. Even the staff at the auction venue fled with pale faces. This is a Celestial Dragon. Any damage will directly attract the Admiral of the Navy. And in front of him, he was directly killed. Any damage will attract the Admiral of the Navy, so the current situation is probably that the entire Navy is dispatched. The situation is much more serious. It's really unexpected. In the crowd, Rayleigh was stunned. His brows were furrowed. The Navy originally belonged to the world government ruled by the Celestial Dragons. Why did the former Admiral Ling Yun do such a cruel thing to the Celestial Dragons? Quote. Rayleigh really couldn't figure it out. Before, although he had heard that Admiral Ling Yun hated the Celestial Dragons very much, and had disobeyed orders many times, but he had never done such a bad thing. Why on earth was this? Just when Rayleigh was puzzled, the mechanical sound in Ling Yun's mind had sounded. Ding, successfully killed the Celestial Dragon, and according to its strength and status, 300 attribute points were obtained. Originally, according to the strength of the Celestial Dragons, the attribute points obtained by killing the strong are as follows. Branch Lieutenant General level, Headquarters Major General level, Pirate high-ranking cadres killing can obtain 10 plus attribute points. Headquarters Lieutenant General level, 7 Warlords of the Sea killing can obtain 100 plus attribute points. Admiral candidate level, Ordinary Vice Emperor kills can get 1000 plus attribute points. Admiral level, 4 Emperors kills can get 10,000 plus attribute points. Overlord level, kills can get 10,000 plus attribute points. In addition, below the minimum standard, kills will not be rewarded with attribute points. In addition, the 5 top leaders of the world government will increase by 500, the identity of the celestial dragon will increase by 300, and the identity of the navy will increase by 100. And Amu, who is hiding in the dark, will increase by 1000 for killing. The celestial dragon in front of me is extremely weak, but his identity has increased by 300. System, look at my attribute panel. System, look at my attribute panel. As soon as the voice fell, the attribute panel appeared in Ling Yun's mind. Host Ling Yun. Constitution Comprehensive 880 Advanced. Physical Skills Navy 6 Styles 900 Top. Swordsmanship 600 Advanced. Hockey Observation Hockey 920 Top. Short-term Prediction of the Future Armament Hockey 650 High. Ryuzakura Overlord Hockey None. Fruit Human Fruit Fantasy Beast Species Nika Form Awakened 1000 Full Level. P.S. To activate the second fruit ability Overlord Hockey Primary, 1000 attribute points are required. According to the classification given by the system, 100 is primary, 300 is intermediate, 600 is advanced, 900 and above is top, and 1000 is the ceiling. So it seems that I still have a lot of room for improvement. And I can continue to open the fruit position. Ling Yun muttered to himself. His strengths were originally physical skills and observation hockey. The fruit was also improved by the activation of the system this time. And his physique was improved because he obtained the human fruit's mythical beast Nika form. Otherwise, Ling Yun felt that he was old and weak. His physique should not reach this value. 300 attribute points are not enough to activate the second fruit ability, nor can it activate the Conqueror Hockey, so let's improve the Armament Hockey first. 300 attribute points, all added to the Armament Hockey. As soon as the voice fell. Ding! 300 attribute points have been consumed, Armament Hockey plus 300. Almost instantly, Ling Yun felt that he had a deeper understanding of Armament Hockey. Originally, his Armament Hockey was extremely strong. It has reached a high level. There is no need to say more about Ryuzakura. But now, the attribute points of Armament Hockey have reached 950 directly. It even surpassed his observation hockey that he was always proud of. Ling Yun casually stretched out his hand towards the distance. The majestic and terrifying Armament Hockey instantly left his body and shot out like an invisible cannonball. Boom! Suddenly, the roof of the entire auction venue exploded instantly. Countless Wally fragments fell. Oh no, General Ling Yun has gone crazy. Run, this place is going to collapse. As countless people fled in panic. Pluto Rayleigh also followed the crowd and hid among them. The entire auction venue collapsed. What's going on? What is this Ling Yun doing? Rayleigh found a dark place and looked at Ling Yun from a distance. His brows were furrowed. Logically speaking, the strong men of the Navy would never attack the celestial dragons. But he did, and he killed them directly. Moreover, after killing the celestial dragons, the first thing he should do is leave the scene. After all, the Navy will soon be surrounded and suppressed. But why doesn't he run away? Rayleigh was puzzled. He knew that Ling Yun's strength was extremely strong. But he couldn't be too abnormal, right? Once the Navy knew that he was the one who did it, it would be absolutely impossible for him to send only one admiral. Does he have the confidence to deal with more than 2 admirals at the same time? Rayleigh shook his head. He thought it was unlikely. But Ling Yun's abnormal behavior also drove Rayleigh to stay and observe from a distance. At the same time, Navy headquarters, in the office of Marshal Sengoku. What? A cry filled with strong shock and anger rang out. At this time, Sengoku. His face was full of disbelief. Trembling all over, Ling Yun would actually directly use the most extreme way to kill the celestial dragons to vent his dissatisfaction with the Navy and the world government. No wonder Zhongguo was so shocked. This approach is tantamount to declaring war on the world government. And it is the kind that leaves no room for maneuver. You know, previously, if Ling Yun did not retaliate, or retaliate publicly, and release related, villain, remarks. The world government and the Navy would never take action against Ling Yun in front of the world. After all, the world government and the Navy also have to maintain their reputation on the surface. Impossible. How could Ling Yun, such a smart person, take such extreme measures directly? Doesn't he know that this is tantamount to putting himself to death? Zhang Guo understood very well. Once the world government and the Navy openly break with Ling Yun, the strong men that can be sent, and the army, are not comparable to those during assassination. Even, enough to mobilize people all over the world to participate in the search and suppression of Ling Yun. Exclamation mark. Unless you can hide on a deserted island for a long time, once you show up in front of people, the traces will naturally be exposed. Quote. Marshal Sengoku, what should we do now? Aokiji was silent for a while, and couldn't help asking. But Sengoku hadn't answered yet. Garp sneered. Humph, I said that day that brother Ling Yun has been a navy for his whole life, has made great achievements in battle, and has saved countless civilians. He must not be treated like this. This matter is your own fault. After saying that, Garp just left after saying a word. For a bunch of trash, you attacked your former partners. I look down on you. The naked words resounded in the room like a slap in the face. Garp. Sengoku's face sank. But Garp had already left on his own. He and Ling Yun have always been the same kind of people. They are extremely disdainful of the celestial dragons. It was only to avoid direct contact that Garp repeatedly refused to be promoted to Admiral. HMPH, Garp. Akainu's face was gloomy, looking at Garp's back as he walked away. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Alas. Zhang Guo shook his head helplessly. He understood Garp's thoughts, but sometimes, he was also helpless. Bulu Bulu. Suddenly, Den Den Mushi rang. Zhang Guo's face was stern. It was a call from the Holy Land of Marihoa. He quickly picked it up. The voices of the 5 elders rang from the other side. Sengoku. Such a terrible incident of celestial dragons being attacked and killed actually happened in the Sabayati archipelago. You, the Admiral of the Navy, cannot escape the blame. The current world government orders you to immediately dispatch the Navy headquarters to capture the thief Ling Yun. If there is resistance, kill him without mercy. Yes, Sengoku's heart was shaken, and his expression was extremely solemn. Unexpectedly, for one person, the world government actually asked for all the troops of the entire Navy headquarters to be dispatched. Soon, dozens of huge warships that were more than 10 times more terrifying than the Demon Slayer order were dispatched from the Navy headquarters in a mighty manner. Countless naval elites were temporarily recalled, and for a time, the number of people reached as many as 100,000. Under the leadership of Sengoku, like a tide, they all rushed to the Sabayati archipelago. And the 3 admirals have already been dispatched first. Rush to the scene as quickly as possible. Have you heard? Former Admiral Ling Yun killed a celestial dragon in the Sabayati archipelago. What? Is this true? He dared to kill a celestial dragon. Impossible. Admiral Ling Yun is an extremely kind person. How could he do such a stupid thing? Absolutely true. It is said that the Navy has dispatched all the Navy at the headquarters, led by Admiral Sengoku himself, and the 3 admirals acted as the vanguard. Is the world going to change? Countless people around the world are talking about it. The news that Ling Yun killed a celestial dragon is sweeping the world at lightning speed. In the world, it caused a huge uproar. At the same time, it attracted the attention of countless forces. The world government, the 4 emperors, the revolutionary army, the 7 warlords of the sea, and countless countries and pirates on the sea. All of them focused their attention here. At this time, on the Sabayati archipelago, the armament hockey has greatly improved. I need to find someone to fight with, so I can know how much progress I have made. Ling Yun grinned. He did not leave immediately, but he sat casually on the ruins, quietly waiting for the arrival of the Navy. Soon, 3 familiar figures appeared in the distance. It was the 3 admirals Akainu, Kizaru and Aokiji. You are here. Ling Yun grinned. Looking at the 3 people in front of him, they formed a triangle and surrounded him in the middle, as if they were afraid that he would escape. Ling Yun, Akainu, Kizaru and Aokiji had just set up their formation. Akainu spoke coldly. Do you know that you have caused a big trouble this time? Ling Yun sneered, shaked his head. Isn't he just a piece of Tianlong trash? Why do you treat them as your own father? Have you really been kneeling for so long that you can't stand up? Hearing this, Akainu's face was filled with extreme anger. Just let you say these 2 more words, anyway, today, you will definitely die. With extreme anger flashing in his eyes, Akainu took the lead in attacking. Although the mission of the 3 of them was just to contain Lingyun and prevent him from escaping. But with Akainu's character, how could he be so lazy? Hell dog. Immediately, the terrifying high temperature hit him. Akainu's right hand turned into magma. Turned into a huge dog head, biting down towards the ground fiercely towards Lingyun. Ha! Lingyun stood up immediately, and his whole body instantly turned into Nika form. The whole body seemed to be wrapped in white smoke. The next moment, the majestic armament haki instantly wrapped around the fist. And then he punched out. Boom! The 2 fists collided with each other, and a terrifying gale suddenly shook. The gale swept, blowing away all the gravel and sand on the ground. The current Admiral of the Navy, Akainu, and Kizaru Aokiji. The 3 admirals actually came together. Rayleigh, who was hiding in the distance, watched this scene and felt secretly shocked. The 3 admirals gathered. But even he himself did not have the confidence to resist. It seems that the death of the celestial dragons this time is indeed extremely serious, otherwise the 3 admirals would not be sent out at the same time. Rayleigh muttered to himself. He never thought that it was actually because of Ling Yun's strength. At the same time, it was also the reason why the world government was eager to wipe it out. Boom! What? The moment the 2 fists met, Akainu's face suddenly changed. Because he felt as if his fist had hit a piece of indestructible metal. It made his fist hurt. Instantly, there was also a huge force coming from the opponent's fist. It immediately made Akainu stagger back. He took 7 or 8 steps back, and finally stomped on the ground, which stabilized Akainu's body. But, the moment he stabilized, Akainu felt a surge of blood in his body, and he couldn't suppress it. Some blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. On the other hand, Lingyun was still as steady as a mountain, standing in place, without any movement. How is this possible? At this moment, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji all showed an expression of disbelief. From the fight just now, it can be seen. Lingyun's strength is much greater than Akainu's. Otherwise, this situation would never happen. But the last time I fought Lingyun, there was obviously not such a huge gap. Even if there was a gap between us, it was not as big as is this big. To know, cough, cough, it's armed hockey. Akainu's face turned pale. After wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, he couldn't help but speak in a deep voice. His eyes were fixed on Ling Yun. As someone who personally fought against Ling Yun, Akainu naturally knows best. He deeply felt Ling Yun's armed domination, which was much stronger than before. But Ling Yun is obviously already so old. How could there be such a big improvement? Moreover, Ling Yun has always been known for his power of seeing and hearing, but he has never heard of his armed domineering being so strong. This unscientific. Go together. Akainu roared angrily. Rush up again immediately. But this time, Ling Yun did not wait for the opponent to attack, but directly struck out from afar. Boom! It was as if an invisible cannonball hit Akainu's chest instantly. Suddenly, caught off guard, Akainu flew out completely. Be careful, his strength is weird, he seems to be stronger than last time. Ching Pheasant spoke in a low voice. But, as soon as he finished speaking, all I heard was a whoosh. The figure of Ling Yun flashed in front of him instantly. Shave, Navy 6 style shave. Combined with the Nika form, the fruit's ability brings strong elasticity. Or combined, Ling Yun's speed becomes extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Aokiji. One punch. Boom. The fist and the ice blade collided violently. Ching Pheasant took advantage of its momentum and retreated continuously. Yatakara Magatama. And the yellow ape. At this moment he launched his ultimate move. The sky and the earth are overwhelming, and all the flying clouds are coming. Snort. I saw Ling Yun suddenly stepping to the ground. Suddenly the earth turned into rubber, covering himself directly. Block all Kizaru's attacks. And he himself moved. The body turned into an afterimage and attacked Ching Pheasant one after another. Originally a simple punch, but with the blessing of Ling Yun's powerful armed domineering spirit and Nika form. The extremely terrifying power was exerted abruptly. Let the mighty General Qing Pheasant have no choice but to avoid the edge temporarily. Qingzi knew that he would definitely be injured under this terrifying fist. He had no choice but to form ice shields one after another. Stand in front of yourself. At the same time, he retreated continuously. Hu, and Akainu, who was beaten away by Ling Yun. At this time, his face was covered with blood, and his eyes contained rage. Come roaring, and Kizaru's body transformed into a golden stream of light. I want to take advantage of Ling Yun's unpreparedness and attack from behind. Come. Facing the three generals, Ling Yun looked up to the sky and laughed. Take action brazenly. Boom. Explosions sounded from the Sabayati archipelago. At this time, the battle between Ling Yun and the three admirals has entered a white-hot stage. No one held back. At this time, Ling Yun showed the Nika form. The powerful two-color domineering was fully revealed. Using the top observation haki that can foresee the future for a short time. Combined with the extremely powerful armament haki that can even attack from a distance. And Ling Yun's own powerful physical skills. Facing the three admirals at the same time, he not only did not have the slightest sign of being discouraged. It seemed that he was getting braver and braver as the battle went on. Boom. How did he do it? Akainu's head was covered in blood. There was a look of shock and anger in his eyes. I couldn't help but exclaim. Kizaru and Aokiji on the side were also shocked. They were all shocked. This Ling Yun was clearly an admiral of the Navy before, and had been in extremely dangerous situations several times. And he has been in the Navy for decades. Logically speaking, it is impossible for him to hide his strength. Not to mention such a terrifying power. The three admirals were unable to suppress him. They were even at a disadvantage. I really don't believe it. Akainu gritted his teeth, and veins popped out on his forehead. Suddenly, hot lava rolled out of his body. He rushed up again, and Ling Yun, seeing Akainu rushing over, grinned instead. Very good, I already know how strong I am now. There is no point in testing it any further. Presumably, other strong men in the Navy will also come over. Ling Yun glanced into the distance. It's time to leave. However, unlike Aokiji and Kizaru who used their long-range attacks to contain him, Akainu rushed over again fearlessly, as if he vowed to keep Ling Yun. HMPH, overestimating yourself. Ling Yun's eyes flashed with impatience. He didn't want to continue fighting now, because he knew that with his current strength, it was impossible to kill the three admirals in front of him. Why waste time and be dragged here? It's just. Akainu disregards the Navy and the so-called justice in his heart. He can even sacrifice everything. Of course, he would rather die than leave his own. He is tough, but after all, he is just a dog of the celestial dragons. Ha! Akainu attacked with a bang, carrying a terrifying high temperature that seemed to burn everything. The terrifying magma quickly enlarged in Ling Yun's eyes. However, swoosh, at the critical moment, as if it had been expected in advance. Ling Yun's body turned to one side. The whole person narrowly avoided this terrifying attack. And then, his figure bounced up instantly. With terrifying explosive power, Ling Yun's entire arm instantly became huge. The surface was also covered with majestic armament haki. Iron block. Even Ling Yun also added the iron block move from the Navy 6 styles, which was originally used for defense, but with the side effect of being immobile. Of course, in front of a physical master like Ling Yun, the disadvantage of the iron block being immobile naturally cannot exist. Boom. The human fruits mythical beast species Nika form, the gigantic display. Combined with the top armament haki, and the strength of the iron block. With the superposition, with the force of lightning. A punch hit Akainu's chest. Puff. The moment the fist landed on his chest, Akainu only felt a huge force instantly surged throughout his body. The next moment, a terrifying pain spread. The moment blood spurted out of his mouth. The whole person slammed into the ground like a cannonball. The ground around him trembled. Sakazuki, Kizaru and Aokiji's faces suddenly changed, and they looked at Akainu. On the dusty ground, dense cracks appeared, and in the middle was a huge crack that looked like a spider web. Akainu was lying in the middle, bleeding all over. He couldn't help spitting out blood. Lingyun. Strongly standing up with his seriously injured body. Akainu looked at Lingyun with extreme resentment. And Lingyun. But his eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a dangerous aura. But Aokiji and Kizaru knew what Lingyun was thinking at this time, and rushed to Akainu's side at the first time. The three admirals and Lingyun confronted each other from a distance. But, at this time, Lingyun had the upper hand. The three of them stared at Lingyun intently, and sweat broke out on their foreheads. A palpitation inexplicably surged in my heart. I also became nervous, and Lingyun just looked at them coldly. The atmosphere was a little depressing for a while. But not long after, Lingyun chuckled. Haha, you are all together, I really don't have the chance to seriously injure you. I also lost the chance to kill Sakazuki. But you naturally lost the chance to intercept me and hold me back. This time, it's just a test of my strength improvement. Next time, the Navy or the world government, we have to settle the interest first. After that, Lingyun sneered. I immediately turned around and flew away. You don't have to worry about me, stop him quickly. As long as he can be restrained, there will naturally be a large number of Navy soldiers behind him. Even if we use the human wave tactics, it is very likely that he will be killed. Akainu was immediately anxious and angry. He couldn't help but roar at Aokiji and Kizaru. Okay, we can't keep him with our lives, not to mention, it was indeed our fault at the beginning. Aokiji frowned. He spoke coldly. Yes, his strength is really too terrible. Kizaru spoke slowly. There was a strong fear in his eyes. Akainu was angry. But they were just at the same level. Akainu had no power to command them. And he was now seriously injured. Not to mention stopping the other party, he might not even be able to keep up with the other party's tracks. So, he could only watch Lingyun leave calmly. This made Akainu feel extremely depressed and humiliated from the bottom of his heart. At this time, Rayleigh, who was hiding in the dark in the distance, saw all this from beginning to end. Seeing Lingyun, he was able to not only not lose to the three admirals but also seriously injured Akainu. Finally, he was able to leave calmly. This scene, Rayleigh showed a look of horror. He couldn't help but mutter to himself. I didn't expect that the former Admiral Lingyun of the Navy would become even stronger after retiring. However, it seems that the three admirals didn't seem to be surprised by Lingyun, and after all, he was a colleague in the past. I feel that there should be something strange, and maybe Lingyun was so crazy that he attacked the celestial dragons because of this. His eyes flickered a few times. Rayleigh couldn't help but take another look at Lingyun, who left calmly, and couldn't help but sigh. But with this strength, I'm afraid it's hard to find an opponent in the world. What? He ran away. Hearing the words of the three admirals, Zhongguo's face was extremely ugly. Yes, Akainu gritted his teeth, his face full of unwillingness. What's going on? We feel that his strength should have improved again. This time, the armament hockey he showed was obviously much stronger than the last time. Even, it is not much worse than his observation hockey. Armament hockey. Zhongguo was shocked. As a general of the same period as Lingyun, Zhongguo knew very well. Lingyun was best at observation hockey. His talent in armament hockey was just average. Maybe it's not an improvement, but a display of true strength. Otherwise, how could he improve so much strength again in such a short time? Suru staff officer, who had been listening quietly, suddenly spoke. But I've never seen him show it before. Zhongguo felt very strange. He had been through life and death with Lingyun. There were even several times when Lingyun was trapped in desperate situations. In theory, he shouldn't have hidden any strength. But now, the strange form last time. This time, there is a powerful top-level armament hockey that does not belong to observation hockey. All these things. Suddenly, Zhongguo felt that this comrade in arms who was once very familiar with him became unfamiliar. Or, has Lingyun been hiding in the Navy with some purpose from the beginning? But there is no reason. Zhongguo really can't figure it out. A person who can disregard his own safety for the sake of civilians. What conspiracy can there be? What kind of shocking conspiracy can make such a strong man hide for a lifetime? It doesn't make sense to think about it. But it's clear that he can't tell the change in his strength. Okay, I know. Rubbing his aching eyebrows, Zhongguo shook his head. Let's not talk about other things first, report the situation to the 5 elders first. Immediately, Zhang Guo reported the situation. In the Holy Land of Mary Joa. How is this possible? How could he have such a powerful force? Among the 5 elders, the sword-wielding old man could not help but exclaim. His face became extremely ugly. It is indeed strange. When he was in the navy before, he never had such strength. Could it be that he is hiding some kind of conspiracy? According to the intelligence and analysis sent back by CP9 before, Ling Yun has a clean background and should not have any conspiracy. Besides, what conspiracy can make such a peerless strong man hide in the navy for more than 40 years? Yes, after all, the strength he has shown now is a force that the 4 emperors can hardly resist. The 5 elders really can't figure it out. And there is another key point. That is, the other party did not deliberately show anything. But his own world government wanted to erase him. So Ling Yun showed such strength. So, was it because of our misleading that he exposed his true strength? Or was it because of our behavior that made him angry and dissatisfied, and his strength increased significantly? The blonde old man crossed his fingers and could not help asking. Logically, it should not be the latter, but he spent more than 40 years hiding his almost invincible strength and hiding in the navy until he retired and left without making any move. It doesn't seem likely. The 5 elders frowned. They really didn't expect that the assassination of Ling Yun would involve such a big event later. Wait, suddenly, among the 5 elders, the old man with a birthmark on his face couldn't help speaking. There was a hint of doubt in his tone. Do you still remember that Ling Yun has the form of the sun god Nika 800 years ago? At the beginning, we determined that Straw Hat Luffy was the owner of this fruit, thus excluding Ling Yun's fruit ability. Another old man shook his head. It's impossible. There are no 2 identical fruit abilities in the world. But what if that Straw Hat Kid ate an artificial devil fruit? As soon as the words fell, the 5 elders all felt a chill that instantly rushed from their tailbones to their heads. If that's true, it means that someone has been planning all this a long time ago. Rubber fruit. That is the human fruit mythical beast sun god Nika form. It is the fruit ability of Joy Boy 800 years ago. Has its own will. It also represents freedom, for the world government, for the 5 elders. Since it is very sensitive, immediately mobilize the battle video at that time to confirm Ling Yun's fruit ability. If it is not filmed, let the 3 admirals use their abilities to transform him into his current form. Immediately, the 5 elders hurriedly gave orders. Soon, Ling Yun's Nika form was exposed in front of the 5 elders. Immediately, the moment they saw this scene, the 5 elders were all shocked. It's really it. We have been paying attention to Straw Hat Luffy, but we didn't expect that he was just a cover. The real human fruit mythical beast Nika form, the owner is the Navy, former Admiral Ling Yun. And he also hides the top armed color domineering. So, everything can be guessed, although I don't know why Ling Yun has been hiding in the Navy for so long. But needless to say, he must have a big plan. Speaking of this, the 5 elders were immediately scared and broke out in a cold sweat. Unexpectedly, that really revealed the real enemy by accident. Otherwise, they were still kept in the dark and had no idea. They were still paying attention to Straw Hat Luffy, and didn't even know that the real sun god Nika had completely awakened under their noses. This feeling made the 5 elders feel a little scared. And, needless to say, Ling Yun was planning, as long as they contacted the sun god Nika. They couldn't help but think that he wanted to overthrow the world government. Overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons. Moreover, there were traces before, he hated the celestial dragons extremely. So everything makes sense. It seems that it was the right decision to eliminate Ling Yun at the beginning, but the combat power sent was insufficient. They looked at each other. Sun God Nika is even more powerful than the 4 emperors. Plus, he was discovered after hiding under our noses for so many years, he is extremely deceptive and intelligent. And, he killed the world's noble celestial dragons and attacked his colleagues in the Navy, and his character is extremely evil. Altogether, he is extremely harmful to the world government, and has surpassed the 4 emperors and the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon. So, immediately issue a bounty. While the 5 elders were talking, they directly discussed the bounty. The announcement was issued on the same day. Ling Yun, the former admiral of the Navy, escaped from the Navy after his conspiracy was exposed. Because of his terrifying strength, wisdom, and extremely high threat to the world. So the bounty is 7 billion Baileys. What? Former Navy Admiral Lin Yun actually betrayed the Navy? No, the world government said he had ulterior motives. He was in the Navy for a reason, but it was exposed. No wonder he directly attacked the celestial dragons some time ago. Hiss. They actually offered a bounty of 7 billion Baileys. This is too outrageous. Not outrageous. According to the latest news, Ling Yun fought the 3 admirals of the Navy alone, and was unscathed, and was able to seriously injure a Kainu and then walk away. His strength is definitely at the world's top level. This news spread all over the world, and immediately set off an uproar all over the world. When everyone heard this news, they were all shocked. They all couldn't help but take a breath. 7 billion Baileys, what is this concept? But it is much higher than the current 4 emperors. And the former pirate King Roger! Exclamation mark! After all, the bounty of pirate King Galdi Roger is only 5.5648 billion Baileys. Following closely behind are the 4 emperors such as Whitebeard. The highest bounty of Whitebeard is only 5.046 billion. And Ling Yun, it was only the first bounty, and he directly came up with 7 billion. It can be seen that the Navy and the world government value and fear him. However, it is precisely because Ling Yun fought 1 against 3. He was able to seriously injure a Kainu in return. This strength is top-notch everywhere. Forbearance, strength, wisdom, hatred. Some reasons are superimposed. Giving 7 billion is not too much. At this time, in the New World, the scattered islands surround a huge island like a moon surrounded by stars. It is the territory of the 4 emperors Big Mom, Wangguo Torrent. On the huge Cake Island. Former Admiral Ling Yun. This kind of thing actually happened. An extremely tall person with thick lipstick and purple eyeshadow on his lips. A fat woman in a pink loose dress. She was sitting in the main seat and smiled. It was one of the 4 emperors today, the soul fruit user, Big Mom. It's really interesting. Mom, this guy is incredible. I heard that he can fight the 3 admirals alone and not be at a disadvantage, and he can even seriously injure a Kainu. This strength is terrifying. It's really amazing. Big Mom smiled, and a strange look flashed in her eyes. Such a powerful man may be no less powerful than Whitebeard. It's a pity that I met him too late. Otherwise, maybe I could have a wonderful encounter and give birth to a perfect and powerful offspring. Many ministers below were ashamed. Mom, this guy is extremely dangerous. I heard that he has been hiding in the Navy for more than 40 years, and he has hidden a lot of strength. Big Mom nodded and smiled. I know, he is a very handsome guy. I have fought with him before, and we are about the same. I didn't expect that he actually hid so much strength. But, what is his plan? After so many years, he just started to act. Big Mom was very curious. Near Wano country, on an island that looks like a giant horn of a ghost. It is Onigashima, 7 billion Baileys. What a terrible bounty. Is his strength and threat level comparable to that of the original pirate King Roger? The burly man with a pair of dragon horns and black hair couldn't help but frown and speak. His eyes were fixed on Ling Yun on the bounty order. He was not unfamiliar with Ling Yun. As a former admiral of the Navy, his strength was naturally not weak. When he went to the Navy headquarters alone to make trouble, he had also suffered from Ling Yun's attack. But, I clearly remember that Ling Yun's strength was not that terrible. Hidden strength, that's the only way to say it. And, according to the world government, he has been lurking in the Navy for more than 40 years. 40 years. Could it be that you also want to be Joy Boy? Ling Yun. While muttering to himself, Kaido had a thought in his mind. His eyes flickered. I don't know if this guy can kill me. In a certain sea area, on a rough sea, a huge ship like a giant whale is galloping slowly. It is the pirate ship of the Whitebeard pirates, the Moby Dick. At this time, a very burly man is sitting on the huge, exuding a fascinating aura. The crescent-shaped white beard on his mouth has already revealed his identity as the 4 Emperors Whitebeard. Is there still no news about Ace? He asked in a deep voice. Dad, not yet. A pineapple-headed man beside him shook his head. He was Marco, the captain of the first squadron on the Whitebeard pirates. Ah, Ace. Whitebeard's eyes flashed with worry. I don't know why. Ever since Ace left that day, he felt an indescribable sense of foreboding. It lingered in his heart and could not be dispelled. Don't worry, Dad, Ace should be fine, Diamond Joe said. Whitebeard withdrew his thoughts, looked at everyone. I heard that something big happened on the sea recently. Yes, Dad. Former Navy Admiral Ling Yun rebelled against the Navy and killed the Celestial Dragons. But in the end, he broke through the Navy's encirclement and seriously injured Akainu with the joint efforts of the three admirals. Finally, he left. I guess the world government and the Navy are so angry that they directly offered an unprecedented reward of 7 billion Baileys. Marco spoke slowly. Well, the world government will not be so superficial. I guess Ling Yun must have mastered some power or clues that seriously threaten them. Of course, killing the Celestial Dragons probably also had an impact. Whitebeard said slowly. Yes, just hiding in the Navy for so many years, I feel that there is something wrong. Not necessarily. After all, it's just the one-sided statement of the world government. Maybe Ling Yun has never thought of rebelling. Dad means. Marco and others were surprised. It doesn't mean anything. This is just speculation. Only the parties involved know the specific situation. However, in the final analysis, this is a conflict between Ling Yun and the Navy and the world government. It has nothing to do with us. We, the Whitebeard pirates, should not get involved. Yes, Dad. Everyone nodded. After that, everyone dispersed. Only Whitebeard looked at the vast sea in the distance, and couldn't help muttering to himself. I always have a feeling that the world is going to change. Red-haired boss, there is the latest news. Former Navy Admiral Ling Yun, after retiring, actually betrayed the Navy and killed the Celestial Dragons. Now one Celestial Dragon has been killed. The Navy has sent a large army, and the three admirals were the vanguard to block him. As a result, he was outnumbered by 3, and he seriously injured Akainu and then walked away. Now, the world government has set a high bounty for him, as much as 7 billion Baileys. Leikalu quickly approached, and told the red-haired young man in front of him all these things in one breath. Red-haired was stunned, and then showed a look of shock. What's going on? It's no wonder that he couldn't react for a while, because the news was too shocking. Killing Celestial Dragons. Former Navy Admiral betrayed the Navy. Fighting 1 against 3 admirals and seriously injuring one of them and then walking away. A bounty of 7 billion Baileys. Any of these elements can cause a great sensation in the world. Not to mention the fusion. Red hair, what Leikalu said is right. It is true. On the side, Ben Beckman took a puff of cigarette and spoke slowly. However, there are some news he didn't say. Leikalu nodded. Yes, according to the news from the world government, the former Navy Admiral Ling Yun was hiding in the Navy for some conspiracy. And he also hid a lot of strength. Red hair heard this. His brows furrowed. But if I remember correctly, this Admiral Ling Yun has been in the Navy for more than 40 years. What kind of conspiracy is it that can make a strong man lurk for so long? And, Red hair's eyes were full of suspicion. If there is a conspiracy, why do you have to reach the position of Admiral, where everyone is paying attention to you? Besides, if you can have the strength of an admiral by hiding some of your strength, how terrifying will your strength be when you fully exert it? Red hair raised his own question. Ben Beckman heard the red-haired question and pondered for a while. He spoke slowly. The words of the world government are not necessarily worthy of trust. Maybe the world government is dissatisfied with Ling Yun and wants to eliminate him, but they didn't expect that this retired admiral would increase his strength by chance. It is also possible. In short, the world government will never say bad things about itself. Red hair and others nodded. But in this case, I'm afraid the sea will become uneasy again. Red hair sighed. Originally, Ace went to hunt down Blackbeard Teach, which made me feel uneasy. Now, this incident has happened again, which is equivalent to adding a top powerhouse to the world, which is enough to cause great turmoil in the situation of the entire sea. Red hair frowned. Ling Yun originally possessed the strength of a Navy admiral. This means that his strength is not much weaker than that of the 4 emperors. And now, whether he has revealed his true strength or improved it, his current strength is extremely terrifying. The 3 admirals joined forces, but they failed to stop him. Akainu was even seriously injured. What a terrifying strength. Plus, Kaido and his fellows might take this opportunity to make trouble and turn the world upside down. That can't be helped, Ben Beckman said softly. Even now, we can't do anything, we can only watch the situation change quietly. Red Hair nodded solemnly. Dressrosa, Pier, Dover, why don't we come to trade arms? You don't have to come in person. Torebel, covered in something like snot, said. Hey, it's okay, I'm free anyway, and this time, it's Drought Jack who will do the trade. Doflamingo, dressed in a flashy outfit, put his hands in his pockets and laughed his signature laugh. I see. Torebel nodded. By the way, Dover, you should have seen the latest newspaper, right? You mean, the former Admiral Lingyun? Yeah, speaking of this. Mingi's eyes under the sunglasses flashed a deep fear. That guy is really scary. He can fight 3 people with the terrifying monster-level strength of the Admiral. As a Shichibukai, Doflamingo naturally knows Lingyun. He knew he was no match for him before. And now. I even heard that Lingyun what he showed before was only a part of his strength. What is this concept? He couldn't even imagine it. Dover, don't think too much, you are the future king of the world. That Lingyun is old after all. The future is yours. Torebel said. Fu. Ming Jie smiled confidently. Indeed, no matter how scary that old guy is, it doesn't matter. He has nothing to do with me. When I continue to improve, I will definitely be one of the top strong men in the future. Dover, here it comes. It's Jack's mammoth. Just thinking about it. Torebel reminded. Soon, the other party's ship came over. A man with an extremely burly figure and a long golden braid strode down from the ship. It was Jack the Drought. Doflamingo. Glancing at Mingo with a cold look, Jack spoke expressionlessly. Where are your artificial devil fruits? Here. Mingo grinned, and his men beside him immediately moved 2 large boxes over. Jack, check it out. Well, take a look at the arms you want. Both sides ordered their men to check it out. After confirming that everything was correct, they prepared to move the goods onto their own ships or palaces. Hey, Jack, how about going to my palace to rest? No need, Boss Kaido is anxious about these goods, I'll go back first. Without caring about Mingo's face at all, Jack said, and turned around to leave. Hey, okay, then have a good trip. Mingo didn't seem to care, and nodded with a smile. However, at this moment, suddenly, one of Mingi's subordinates ran over in a panic. There was a strong sense of fear in his tone. Master, it's bad, someone is flying towards here. Jack frowned when he heard this. He stopped and looked at the subordinate. Although he could ignore Mingay. But Mingay is an important figure in his boss's plan to realize all animal-type devil fruit ability users, and he can't afford to lose. Why are you in a panic? Who is coming? Mingay still looked indifferent. However, the next moment, the name called out by the subordinate made Mingay tremble all over. The one who came is the former Admiral of the Navy who has been discussed recently, Lingyun. Chapter 11. What? General Lingyun. Ming Jie shuddered all over. His pupils shrank subconsciously, and his face changed drastically. Why is he here? Although I can't figure out why Lingyun would come here. But the current Lingyun is much more terrifying than the Admiral of the Navy. Put aside his strength. If he were an Admiral of the Navy, he couldn't do anything to him without a legitimate reason. Because he is one of the 7 warlords of the sea appointed by the world government. An important force used to balance the pirate forces at sea in the Navy. As a Navy, he can't easily attack the 7 warlords of the sea. But, Lingyun has already rebelled against the Navy. And, putting this aside, he also hates the celestial dragons very much. During his tenure, he had repeatedly refused orders to protect the celestial dragons. Some time ago, he even directly killed the celestial dragons. It can be seen how much he hates the celestial dragons. And it just so happens that the blood flowing in my body is really the blood of the celestial dragons. Therefore, Brother Ming has every reason to doubt. This General Lingyun is coming towards me. Young master, what should I do? The subordinate's face was extremely pale, and he couldn't help shaking all over. And Brother Ming's face was extremely ugly. He never expected that the other party would actually target him. The most terrifying thing is, with Lingyun's strength, he can still seriously injure a general when fighting 1 against 3. This strength is even in front of the 4 emperors, it is an existence that has the upper hand. And I, with the strength of a mere Shichibukai, what can I use to resist the other party? Lingyun, the former admiral of the navy. And Jack's face was filled with anger. Where is he? I'll go meet him. Immediately, Jack wanted to deal with Lingyun. It must be said that this courage is still extremely commendable. No, Mingay shook his head, and was a little panicked. With our strength, we can't beat him. Let's leave here for the time being and avoid the limelight first. Mingay had just finished speaking. Without waiting for Jack to answer, a teasing laugh came from not far away. Oh, leave, where are you going? Mingay's hair stood on end. Looking over, seeing a handsome old man who looked kind. Looking at them with a smile. Who else could it be but Lingyun? Lingyun was looking forward to it. He was indeed just as Mingay guessed, and he came to Doflamingo specifically. Now, because of his strength and threat, the celestial dragons were also afraid, and all of them hid in the holy land of Marihoa. So, the success rate of assassinating the celestial dragons by himself was not high. Naturally, he set his sights on Doflamingo, a celestial dragon who was living outside. We are all celestial dragons anyway, there should be no difference, right? Lingyun smiled. Killing a powerful man of the Shichibukai level, he can get at least 100 attribute points. But Mingay is a celestial dragon. So, 300 more attribute points will be added. In summary, as long as Doflamingo is killed, he can get at least 400 attribute points. Of course, Lingyun guessed that killing the Shichibukai would give at least 100 attribute points. But Mingay's strength is at least above average among the Shichibukai. So logically speaking, there should be more than 400 attribute points. So, Mingay is already the most suitable and cost-effective experience baby he can find in the nearest place. Are you Lingyun? Jack spoke coldly, looking like a newborn calf who is not afraid of a tiger. Lingyun followed his gaze and his eyes suddenly lit up. It turned out to be Drought Jack of the Beast's Pirates. He is already a strong man at the level of Vice Emperor. Although he is relatively backward. But at least he has 1000 attribute points as a base. It's really unexpected. God gave me a surprise. Lingyun grinned. Originally, he had no intention of attacking a strong man at the level of Vice Emperor. The reason is also very simple, that is because such strong men are generally in the base camp of the 4 emperors. It is difficult to meet them easily. Unless you go to the base camp of the 4 emperors. But if you go there, you will have to face the powerful 4 emperors and the vice emperors. And, the military force like a tide. Lingyun is not going to take risks. Isn't it more rational to kill the weak first and deal with the 4 emperors when there is no chance of error? But he never expected that. He did not go to trouble the other party, but only came to find Brother Ming. I actually met Drought Jack. Really, thank you so much. Fortunately, I met this reckless guy. If I met other second disasters, they might have run away after hearing my name. How could they foolishly stay there and wait for me to harvest? What about the former general? Fall down. However, seeing Lingyun's eyes, Drought Jack was not afraid, but rushed over with a roar. Ha ha ha, good. Lingyun was overjoyed. This time I really made the right choice. Jack. Ming Jie hurriedly called out, trying to stop him. But Jack didn't stop at all, and rushed directly to Lingyun, punching him in the face. Hee. Seeing the opponent coming fiercely, Lingyun showed a playful smile on his face. Swish. Boom. A punch hit the ground, shaking up thick smoke. Lingyun cleverly dodged it at the first time. His top-notch observation hockey that can foresee the future for a short time is no joke. Where are you running? Jack roared, attacked repeatedly. Boom, boom, boom. Blasts of bombing sounded, but Lingyun always dodged lightly. His movements were smooth, elegant and chic. In these continuous attacks, he was like a fish in the water, dodging easily one after another. A former admiral of the navy, you only know how to dodge. Jack saw that he could not attack the other party, and immediately roared, and his body shape also changed rapidly. And in an instant he turned into a huge mammoth. It was his fruit ability, the ancient mammoth form of the elephant fruit. Quote dot dot dot. This is his powerful observation hockey. Ming Ji's eyelids twitched quickly. Obviously, the other party dodged lightly. Why did Jack think that he only knew how to dodge? Don't you think you can really beat this monster? Cold sweat broke out on Ming's forehead. He was thinking about how to leave quietly. Jack wanted to die, but he couldn't stop him, but he didn't want to. Roar, give me your life, you old man. Jack, who had transformed into a mammoth, roared and swung his long trunk. With terrifying power and powerful armament hockey. With a sharp sound of breaking through the air, he smashed towards Lingyun. Haha, let me show you the real powerful armament hockey. And Lingyun, looking at this scene, he stood still. With a left hand, he casually slapped the huge trunk. At the moment of the collision between the two, I saw that the huge mammoth seemed to have encountered a terrifying explosion and was instantly blown up. The huge body was directly blasted into the air, and then fell heavily. Boom, a violent crash sounded. Smoke and dust filled the air. The ground cracked. It was caused by the collision between Jack's body and the ground after he was hit on the ground. You are too weak. It is not worth it for me to use my fruit ability or any physical skills. Lingyun chuckled, and immediately moved his body and kicked. Boom, the huge mammoth was kicked away like a ball. The whole elephant rolled on the ground, leaving a deep gully. Finally, it hit the building in the distance, knocking down all the houses. It stopped then, but, puff, the mask on Jack's face was broken, revealing his hideous face. Blood spurted out of his mouth like money. Jack struggled to get up, staring at Lingyun. A look of resentment was revealed. Brother Ming, who was not far away, saw all this. And his heart instantly sank to the bottom. He could see that even Jack could not hold out for too long in Lingyun's hands. This was when Lingyun did not use all his strength. Then he had to escape immediately. Immediately, Brother Ming swallowed hard, just looked at Lingyun, and walked back on tiptoe. He wanted to move away from this place little by little. Get away from Lingyun's sight first. Just at this moment, Jack seemed to be crazy and rushed over again. Tisk tisk tisk. Lingyun glanced at Brother Ming with a smile. He thought Brother Ming would join the battle to help. Unexpectedly, he wanted to escape. But it was normal. After all, his strength was here. Adding another Brother Ming would be completely useless. He still had some confidence, and I believe Doflamingo also saw it. Die! Jack roared and rushed over. Lingyun frowned slightly, but just clenched his hands. The next moment, the majestic armament hockey left his body. It bombarded Jack like a cannonball. Boom, boom, boom. The huge mammoth was bombarded directly from the front and retreated one after another. It was directly abused. For a moment, blood splattered everywhere. I'll send you on your way, Lingyun murmured softly. Suddenly, one hand stretched out in an instant. Then, swoosh, it shot out. With a bang, it landed on the crumbling mammoth. The huge mammoth quickly recovered to its original Jack's appearance. At this time, his face was covered with blood. Looking at Lingyun, a look of horror finally appeared on his face. But, a strong feeling of dizziness rose in his mind. Boss Kaido will avenge me. As soon as the voice fell, there was a bang. Jack's burly figure fell straight to the ground. No breath. Ding. Successfully killed the Emperor's deputy-level strongman. Obtained 1000 attribute points. Hearing this, Lingyun smiled. Very good, enough to open the second fruit ability. That's the strength of this guy. Just barely counted as the Emperor's deputy. Only gave the lowest 1000 attribute points. He looked at Jack's body with some disdain. Lingyun shook his head and took a step. There is still Doflamingo, we can't let him escape. The powerful observation hockey unfolded instantly. Lingyun shot out following the opponent's trail. He had just left and couldn't get far. Coupled with his top-notch observation hockey, Ming-jae couldn't escape at all. As expected, in just a few breaths, Lingyun saw Ming-jae's back from a distance. You can't escape, give up, Lingyun said softly. Why do you have to kill me? Is it because I'm a celestial dragon? Ming-jae sensed that Lingyun was catching up with him at a speed he couldn't imagine. He immediately roared hysterically. At this time, he was no longer as calm and arrogant as before. His face was filled with panic. Facing Ming-jae's question, Ling Yun grinned. No, I will kill other strong men, but Tianlong people will always be my first choice. You can't escape. Give up. I won't give up. I have the qualifications to become a king. I won't fall here. Ming Jie roared hysterically. His 5 fingers turned into claws, and he desperately grabbed Ling Yun on the ground. 5-color line. Cutting power. But Ling Yun moved. Swish. A finger, with a lightning speed. In a flash, pierced Ming Jie's throat. It was the most basic finger gun skill. Ming Jie looked unbelievable, and covered the blood gushing from his throat with both hands. Staggered against the wall. How could I fall here? Before he finished speaking, Ming Jie's head tilted and he was no longer breathing. Tisk tisk tisk. Really interesting. Looking at this corpse, Ling Yun chuckled. The next moment, he turned around, and the sight that he had snatched from Ming Jie's hand was instantly cut out. Swish. The next moment, the entire building around Ling Yun was cut open. The cut surface was like a mirror. At the same time, there was a headless body standing quietly. In the air, a head was thrown high up, obviously cut off along with the building. Finally, the head fell to the ground, slowly rolling. The head had an expression of unspeakable horror and disbelief. Haha, did you think I couldn't tell that the one who died at the beginning was your clone? As soon as the words fell, Doflamingo's headless real body fell straight to the ground. Ding, successfully killed Chihuahua Doflamingo, basic combat power attribute points gained 550 points. Because of his identity as a celestial dragon, 300 attribute points were added, a total of 850 attribute points. Hearing the mechanical sound coming from his mind, Ling Yun grinned. Very good. Killing Doflamingo gets 850 points, killing Drought Jack gets 1000 attribute points, a total of 1850 points. Keep 1000 points to activate my second Devil Fruit ability. The remaining 850 points. Add 50 points to Armament Hockey, so my Armament Hockey is complete. 80 points. Add to Observation Hockey. Observation Hockey is also complete. Use 120 points, add to my Comprehensive Constitution, and use 100 points to improve my Physical Training Navy 6 styles. In this way, 250 attribute points are consumed, and the Comprehensive Constitution and 2-color Hockey are complete. The remaining 600 points. Keep it for now, and see my second fruit ability first. Maybe the second fruit ability needs to be improved with attribute points. After allocating it in his mind, Ling Yun silently thought in his heart. The next moment, ding, consume 1000 attribute points, successfully activate the second Devil Fruit ability. Obtain the Devil Fruit ability, Tremor Fruit. Ding, consume 1000 attribute points, successfully open the second Devil Fruit ability. Obtain Devil Fruit ability, Tremor Fruit. This mechanical sound fell. But Ling Yun was stunned, and then he was ecstatic. If you want to say which Devil Fruit ability he likes the most, the first one must be the Tremor Fruit. Very good. Ling Yun looked at his attribute panel. Host Ling Yun. Physique Comprehensive 1000 top. Physical Skills Navy 6 styles 1000 top. Swordsmanship 600 advanced. Hockey Observation Hockey 1000 top. Short-term prediction of the future Armament Hockey 1000 top. Overlord Hockey none. Fruit Human Fruit Fantasy Beast Nika Form Awakened 1000 full level Tremor Fruit 1 primary. Remaining attribute points 600. PS. To activate the third fruit ability, you need to consume 3000 attribute points, and to activate Overlord Hockey primary, you need to consume 1000 attribute points. Now it seems that my strength has improved a lot. These 600, just add them to the Tremor Fruit. As soon as the voice fell, ding, 600 attribute points are consumed successfully. The development level of the Tremor Fruit has reached 601 advanced. Hearing this prompt sound, Ling Yun grinned. Just when they were about to leave, someone suddenly rushed over from a distance with a roar. It was Toripal who had just quietly escaped. He quietly slipped away before Mingay escaped. At this time, he led many Don Quixote family cadres to come. Quick, cover the young master to leave. Young master, where is the young master? That can't be. Toripal and others saw the headless corpse on the ground. Suddenly, their eyes were red. Yes, it's the young master. The young master is dead. Sugar screamed in horror and was immediately frightened and fainted. Young master, revenge for the young master. Monet's face was extremely ugly, and his eyes were filled with endless resentment. He immediately flapped his wings and flew over quickly. Wait, Monet, this is the former Admiral of the Navy. Torapal shouted repeatedly, but it seemed too late. Monet flew towards Lingyun at the first moment, typing Shay muscle blade. Immediately, every feather on Mota's wings turned into a round fan-shaped piece of ice and snow, which gathered together to form an extremely sharp blade. He stabbed towards Lingyun at close range. HMPH. Lingyun snorted coldly and blocked it immediately. The majestic armed color domineering aura swirled around. He immediately shot out a finger gun. He pierced Monet's chest with a direct blow. Instantly, blood splattered, and Monet's face showed extreme fear. Plop, he fell to the ground directly like a bird with broken wings. Ding, successfully killed the pirate cadre Monet, and gained 60 attribute points. Lingyun was stunned. I didn't expect that after killing this group of Don Quixote cadres, I could also gain attribute points. I thought they were too weak to have any. 60 points. That's good, it's better than nothing. Lingyun smiled and looked at the others. Monet. No, run away. The others saw this scene and their faces changed drastically. They turned around and wanted to run away immediately. HMPH, you still want to leave? Lingyun snorted coldly, and his figure disappeared from the spot. He appeared behind Torrebel at the first time. Finger gun. To deal with this group of cadres who were much weaker than himself, Lingyun did not use anything else, only the finger gun. Fast, accurate and ruthless. Ding, successfully killed the pirate cadre Torrebel, and obtained 70 attribute points. Ding, successfully killed the pirate cadre Pika, and obtained 70 attribute points. Ding, successfully killed Diamante, and obtained 50 attribute points. Lingyun was extremely fast, and he killed even the fastest guys in the first place. Pika originally wanted to use his stone fruit to escape underground, but he didn't expect Lingyun's armament hockey to directly cover the ground. He failed to escape successfully. There are still a few. Lingyun grinned. Attacked in succession. Ding, killed the pirate cadre Jorah, and gained 20 attribute points. Ding, killed the pirate cadre Gladius, and gained 50 attribute points. Ding, killed the pirate cadre Baby5, and gained 40 attribute points. Ding, immediately afterwards, Sucrose, Buffalo, Mahabas, Derringer, and Laoji were all killed. There was mercy. Even Senio, a real man, showed no mercy. After all, in Lingyun's eyes, bad guys are bad guys. Only Violet, the former princess of the Dressrosa kingdom, was let go. After all, she was forced to join. Very good, although the gains from killing them are not much, the cumulative total is 559 attribute points. Add to the tremor fruit, fill it up. Ding, 399 attribute points consumed, 160 attribute points remaining. The tremor fruit has reached the maximum level, awakening state. Very good. Lingyun grinned. Immediately, the power of the tremor fruit surged in his hand, covering his hand like an air cover. Lingyun punched the ground. The next moment, boom. There was only a huge roar, and the ground instantly cracked. Countless hideous cracks spread towards the distance. Boom. Very good. Lingyun saw that this casual attack with the power of the tremor fruit had such a powerful force, and his face showed satisfaction. He was confident that the power of the tremor fruit he mastered was no weaker than Whitebeard. The strength has increased quite fast, but it's not enough. I already have 2 major fruits, and it's time to deal with the 4 emperors. Thinking of this, Lingyun sat down here. I killed Jack and Ming Jie. Kaido will definitely be restless and come to me for revenge. Just wait for him here. If a 4 emperor level strongman is successfully killed, he will have at least tens of thousands of attribute points. In the end, how can Lingyun not be jealous? And just as Lingyun destroyed Ming Jie's forces with overwhelming force, and killed Drought Jack soon, this news instantly reached Kaido and the Navy. At this time, Ghost Island. What? Jack and Ming Jie were killed by the former Admiral Lingyun. Instantly, the situation changed. Kaido's face was full of rage, and his eyes were filled with unspeakable murderous intent. Jack was one of the most important cadres under his command. And Ming Jie, who possessed the artificial devil fruit, was his only channel to create a pirate group with all animal-type fruit ability users. It was equivalent to Mingi's death, and his dream was completely shattered. Lingyun, I want you dead. The roar resounded, and the murderous intent that soared into the sky filled the world. Kaido's body changed, and he instantly turned into a blue dragon, flying directly into the sky. Marine Headquarters, Marineford, in the Marshal's office. You mean, Lingyun went to Dressrosa and disrupted the arms and artificial devil fruit trade between Kaido and Mingo? And killed Drought Jack and Mingo, who represented the beast's pirates? Zhang frowned and asked the naval officer in front of him. Yes, Marshal Zhang. Not only that, but almost all the cadres under Mingo were killed by Lingyun alone. According to the news sent back by the spies, Kaido has already known about this matter, and left Onigashima in a rage, heading to Dressrosa. Well, this is a good opportunity for us. Hearing this, Zhang pondered for a while, and then nodded slightly. Come here, pass on my order. Immediately send the top 3 admirals to Dressrosa. Kaido will appear. Given his temperament, he will definitely fight Lingyun. He is the strongest creature in the world. It will be very difficult for Lingyun to defeat him. So, our navy can just follow behind them and reap the benefits. Zhang thought to himself. After fighting Kaido, Lingyun must not be in his peak state, right? It should be much easier to take him down at this time. Soon, the 3 admirals of the navy set off quickly. They all used their own fruits to rush to Dressrosa at the fastest speed. Kaido's speed is too slow. It's been so long. On the dock of Dressrosa, Lingyun curled his lips. He looked bored. As he was talking, the sky suddenly darkened. It was as if a large dark cloud had covered the land. Oh, Lingyun looked up calmly, and saw a majestic and huge blue dragon hovering in the sky. A pair of eyes full of tyranny were staring at him. Former Navy Admiral Lingyun. The roaring voice echoed down with the rolling air waves. The wind was howling. Lingyun's silver hair fluttered in the wind, but his expression was still calm and calm. Kaido, you just came, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Suddenly, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and Lingyun looked up at the blue dragon. HMPH, you killed my people, but you are still so arrogant. A tyrannical killing intent surged in his eyes, and Kaido's huge blue dragon head was raised high. The next moment, a fireball gathered in the dragon's mouth. Hot breath. Boom. Filled with an extremely hot breath, it turned into an impact and rushed towards Lingyun. Sneak. But Lingyun only shook his head in disdain and stretched out his left arm. In an instant, the dark armament hockey swirled up. A palm blocked in front of him. Boom. The heat breath and the palm collided violently, but the terrifying heat breath broke apart at this moment. It turned into endless sparks, like fireworks scattered in all directions. HMPH, Kaido, if you want to attack, be serious. Don't use such tricks to make a fool of yourself. Lingyun sneered and shook the smoking palm in his hand lightly. The armament hockey dissipated, and the palm was still intact. And this understated scene instantly shocked Kaido and the 3 admirals of the navy hiding in the distance. Although the heat breath is not Kaido's strongest move, it is at least extremely powerful. He can resist it so lightly. It can be seen how powerful his armament hockey is. It's so scary. Kizaru was slightly startled, and then he sighed. This time he was not pretending, but really sighed from the heart. With such armament hockey, I'm afraid there are few people in the world who can match him. He seems to be even more powerful. Aokiji's face was extremely solemn, and he said hoarsely. HMPH, this Lingyun is already a big threat to justice. Even if he dies, he must be eliminated. Akainu's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Clenched his fists. I didn't expect you to have some strength. Kaido's pupils trembled slightly, and he knew the power of his moves very well. It can be said that in terms of armament hockey, he can't be compared with Lingyun at all. However, despite this, Kaido is still confident. After all, his abnormal physique and the terrifying physique brought by the awakened fish fruit's mythical beast blue dragon form are no joke. He is the #1 creature on land, sea and air. He. Okay, Lingyun, then let's try my Kaido's strength. After saying that, Kaido's figure changed rapidly. His huge body turned into a humanoid shape, which was surprisingly the most suitable dragon man form for fighting. He has a ferocious face, a pair of long fangs, half of his face is covered with scales, and his whole body exudes a fascinating aura. Lingyun, come and fight, let's see if I kill you or you kill me. With a roar, Kaido attacked. Holding the eight-faced mace, he swung it brazenly. A sharp impact suddenly burst out from the mace. HMPH, come. Lingyun punched out. Boom. The fist and the mace collided suddenly, and bursts of dark lightning burst out. As if to split the space. Boom. I didn't expect that you can do this without the domineering color domineering. Kaido narrowed his eyes, and there was a hint of fear in his eyes. Then try this move. King Kong Dysphoros. As soon as the words fell, Kaido swung vigorously. A column of stick energy suddenly shot out. Oh. Lingyun raised his eyebrows and waved his hand casually to block it. But at the same time, Kaido suddenly stepped on the ground, and in an instant the whole person burst out like a cannonball. In just a moment, he came in front of Lingyun. The huge body was high in the air, and the majestic domineering aura was wrapped around the mace. The whole person swung the mace and smashed it down. The third generation induced Naraku. Boom. The mace fell to the ground, and immediately caused the ground to crack. Crack, crack. The sound of cracking rang out, the earth was torn apart quickly, and the huge spider web spread in all directions. Kaido saw that there was no one on the ground in front of him, and his face suddenly changed. Not bad, but next, it's my turn. Suddenly, Lingyun's playful laughter came from behind. Kaido turned around suddenly and saw an old man with white hair and white ribbons wrapped around his body, with a slight smile on his lips. Then, a punch was thrown. Not good. Kaido quickly turned around to defend himself, crossing his arms in front of his chest. The next moment, the fist landed on his arms. With a dull collision sound, Kaido's burly body trembled violently. His face suddenly showed a look of horror, and before he could do anything, the whole person immediately retreated quickly along the ground. Kaido's face was shocked and angry, and he stared at Lingyun with deep horror in his eyes. But he just opened his mouth. He saw Lingyun tap the ground with his feet, and the whole person disappeared instantly. What? Kaido's face changed suddenly, and his powerful observation haki was displayed. Here, oh no. His eyes were full of shock. Kaido's head twisted quickly, and various sonic booms came from the surroundings. That was Lingyun moving quickly. The speed was so fast that even Kaido could hardly catch up. I'm going to attack. Lingyun's chuckle came from all directions, and the next moment, a fist suddenly hit out. It stretched out quickly, with a majestic armed haki, and came with a bang. Bang! A huge impact sound of a fist hitting Kaido was heard, and Kaido immediately felt a sharp pain from his back. How can he be so fast? Swish, swish, swish. At this time, Lingyun, with the help of the power of the human fruit's mythical beast Nika form, the terrifying reverse thrust brought by the powerful elasticity allowed Lingyun to have the ultimate speed. With faster speed, the power caused will naturally increase. Bang, bang, bang. Lingyun bombarded quickly, and each punch seemed to be shot from all directions like a storm, landing accurately and violently on Kaido's body. Kaido's body was bombarded crazily, and the whole person could only passively bear it. Completely crushed. There was no chance to escape. Seeing this scene, the three admirals of the Navy who were secretly observing were all horrified. How is this possible? How could he become so powerful? Yeah, it seems like he has become much stronger. Akainu stared at Lingyun on the field, sweat on his forehead could not help but come out. Clenched fists. Aokiji and Kizaru looked at each other, and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Although they knew that Kaido could never beat Lingyun, after all, after Lingyun displayed that strange form, even their three admirals could compete with him and leave calmly. But they never thought that he could crush Kaido like this. Boom, puff. Under the continuous heavy blows, Kaido suddenly spurted out a large mouthful of blood. Good guy. I underestimated you. Kaido wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sneered. However, I am known as the strongest creature in the world, but this is not the end. After saying this, his eyes revealed an indescribable madness. Lingyun, look who it is, hold on to the end. At this time, Kaido roared to the sky and rushed over waving his mace. He looked like he was fighting for his life. Obviously, He had great confidence in his strong defense. After all, he was the strongest creature on land, sea and air. He was confident that he could trade injuries with Lingyun, an old man. Haha, naive. Lingyun smiled. With the power just now, he did not kill Kaido, but don't forget that in addition to domineering in Nika form, he is best at physical skills. 6 Style Secrets, the strongest 6 King's Spear. With the improvement of Lingyun's physical skills in the 6 styles of the Navy, he naturally mastered the secret of the 6 styles of the Navy, the 6 King's Spear. Lingyun clenched his fists and stretched them suddenly. With the blessing of armament hockey, all the strength in the body gathered in the fists. Come and fight. Rising Dragon Flame Bagua. Kaido rushed forward, with strength surging all over his body, and a terrifying huge fire dragon suddenly emerged. And wrapped Kaido in it at the first time. The dragon head was wrapped with powerful domineering hockey, and rushed at a very fast speed. The powerful impact force burst out instantly, and suddenly collided with the terrifying burst of the strongest 6 King's Spear. Boom! The next moment, a huge explosion sounded. The flame and air were fighting fiercely, and the resulting gusts swept in all directions, and waves of energy ripples swept away. The gravel flew, and the seawater flowed back. Even the sky seemed to be blasted in half at this time. Boom! What a terrible battle! Kizaru blocked his face with his left arm and couldn't help but exclaimed. HMPH, I hope both sides will suffer losses. After we kill this traitor Lingyun, we can take Kaido away. Akainu snorted coldly. It would be the best if we can, but I'm afraid it can't. Kaido will probably still lose. Aokiji shook his head and said softly. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud bang. In the distance, Kaido fell heavily to the ground like a falling kite. Kaido failed, what a waste. A cold look flashed in Akainu's eyes, and his eyes narrowed slightly. There is no way, this man is too powerful, and I don't know what secrets he has. He actually hid himself so much before. Kizaru's face became extremely solemn. Since Kaido has been defeated, it is their turn to play. What do you think, Kaido? Lingyun chuckled, and his clothes were still very clean, without even a wrinkle. He looked at Kaido and chuckled. You, if you have the ability, kill me. Kaido sneered, but there was a look of disdain in his eyes. It's just a defeat, it's not like he hasn't done it before. He has been defeated more than a dozen times, and he has been captured countless times. Only if you can kill yourself, not killing yourself will make you stronger. What, do you think you can survive under my hands with your immortal physique? Lingyun raised his eyebrows and showed a playful smile. Kill me if you can. Seeing Lingyun's scene, Kaido suddenly felt a jolt in his heart for some reason, and couldn't help but have an indescribable ominous premonition. But he still shouted loudly. Okay, since you want to die, I will naturally fulfill your wish. Lingyun smiled slightly, looking confident. The next moment, he tapped the ground lightly, and his figure suddenly appeared beside Kaido. Right foot raised high. Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, will die here today. Muttering softly, Lingyun's face became indifferent. Die. After that, he kicked down with his right foot. Kaido looked at the rapidly enlarged attack, and suddenly a strong sense of death crisis rose in his heart. No, we can't let him kill Kaido. In the dark, Aokiji and Kizaru, who saw this scene, exclaimed at the same time, and together with Akainu, the 3 of them attacked at this critical moment. The first 2 did not want Kaido to die here, while Akainu wanted to take advantage of Lingyun's final blow to Kaido and relax to give a fatal sneak attack. Boom! Lasers, ice and magma bombarded Lingyun at the same time, but Lingyun seemed to have expected it, and his figure flashed. He dodged it lightly, then looked at them indifferently and spoke slowly. Are you 3 finally willing to come out? Are you 3 finally willing to come out? Lingyun looked at them indifferently. As a former Navy admiral who was famous for his knowledge, it was natural that Lingyun would not be able to detect them. Lingyun. Akainu's face was extremely gloomy, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. Ahem, I really didn't expect that one day I would be rescued by the Navy. What a shame. Kaido struggled to stand up, his expression extremely ugly. Looking at Lingyun, his eyes were full of indescribable fear, and there was also a faint feeling of heart palpitations for the rest of his life. Kaido, you can see that this guy is too powerful. How about we join forces? Akainu rolled his eyes, frowned and said in a deep voice to Kaido. Now it is impossible for the three generals alone to defeat Ling Yun, since Kaido has also become enemies with Ling Yun. Of course, we can join forces for a short time. After hearing Akainu's words, Kaido showed a look of surprise at first. After all, someone like Akainu who hates pirates so much, it is really incredible for him to choose to join forces with pirates. But immediately, Kaido responded hoarsely and nodded. After all, Ling Yun killed Brother Ming and Jack, and he also wanted to kill Ling Yun. Good. I'm sorry, General Ling Yun, your threat is too great for the world. Kizaru sighed slightly and said, having reached the other side. Ching Pheasant didn't say a word, just pretending to be facing a formidable enemy. The three generals of the navy, together with the four Emperor Kaido, formed a four-cornered force, surrounding Ling Yun alone in the middle. Without wasting any time, Akainu took the lead. Ling Yun, the four of us join forces, we will never let you escape again this time. Roaring angrily, Akainu's eyes were full of violence, and with a wave of his right arm, it seemed to turn into rolling lava. Pluto. It transformed into a giant magma dog and bit into Ling Yun brazenly. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Kizaru followed closely behind, and countless lasers poured out. Violent pheasant mouth. As soon as he finished speaking, several ice birds instantly condensed in front of Aoki Pheasant and swooped away. Kaido also immediately waved his mace and performed his unique skill, Diamond Dysprosium. Boom! 4 different forces bombarded away at the same time. The target is directed at Ling Yun in the center. However, only a whooshing sound was heard, and Ling Yun jumped high into the air. Terrifying explosions resounded one after another below, and even the whole earth was shaking. But Ling Yun had a mocking look on his face. Looking down at the 4 people below, he couldn't help but sneer. Hey, I didn't expect that the Navy would actually cooperate with the pirates. Is this the so-called justice you uphold? How ridiculous. Hearing this, Akainu's face suddenly sank. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. Ling Yun, no matter what you say, I will never let you escape today. This Dressrosa Island is your burial place. Roaring angrily, Akainu launched the meteor volcano. Waves of magma cannons shot out one after another. The whole sky is illuminated red. Haha, if the 4 of you join forces, I won't have to run away in embarrassment. Seeing this devastating attack heading towards him, Ling Yun raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Now, let me show you my current power. After saying that, Ling Yun's eyes suddenly froze, replaced by an extremely sharp gaze. In an instant, Ling Yun's right hand was gently raised, and it suddenly grew high in the sky. The next moment, his right hand formed a fist, and with strong rebound force, his fist fell boldly towards the void below. Boom! Like a heavy hammer hitting the ground, bursts of shattering sounds resounded in an instant. Kacha kacha. In the air, cracks appeared out of thin air and spread rapidly. Boom, boom, boom. Countless magma cannons dissipated and exploded the moment they hit the cracks. Turn into countless sparks and shoot out everywhere. Akainu's attack was completely broken by Ling Yun's blow. But at this time, he no longer cared about the attack he performed. Including Kizaru, Aokiji, and Kaido, everyone looked horrified, their eyes filled with indescribable disbelief. It's like ordinary people suddenly saw a ghost. You actually have Whitebeard's shake fruit ability. Kaido was the first to exclaim, his pupils trembling as he stared at Ling Yun. As a former companion of the Rocks Pirates and now a member of the Yonko, Kaido is very familiar with the shock fruit. Ling Yun, what is displayed must be the power of the tremor fruit. How is this possible? Akainu's pupils have shrunk into needles, and his face shows an extremely shocked expression. The power of the devil fruit that is praised by the world as the strongest man, has the power to destroy the world, and is known as the strongest superhuman fruit. It was actually mastered by Ling Yun. How is this possible? It should be impossible to have 2 identical fruit abilities. Whitebeard should be fine, but how did this guy do it? Aokiji took a breath and couldn't help but trembled. Could it be an artificial devil fruit? But that's not right. This strange form on his body is clearly a display of the power of a devil fruit. Could it be that it can take 2 devil fruits at the same time? Kizaru looked ugly, and a trace of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. As time went by, they found that Ling Yun, the veteran admiral who originally belonged to the Navy, had a lot of hidden secrets. It was completely different from what they had seen before. Borsellino. Aokiji glanced at Kizaru, and Kizaru understood. He quickly released a video phone bug and aimed it at Ling Yun. The power displayed by Ling Yun was too incredible, whether it was the power of the tremor fruit or the direct mastery of two fruit abilities. These were all things that they felt extremely shocked. They recorded it so that they could report it back to Zhongguo. HMPH, the four of you, come together. Ling Yun chuckled and moved suddenly. The powerful rebound force brought extreme speed, and Ling Yun disappeared instantly. All fall down. As soon as the sound started, Ling Yun was already on the ground, flipping towards the ground. The entire ground suddenly seemed to turn into rubber, rolling rapidly, making Akainu and the others unstable. Swish. It happened so fast that before Akainu and the others could react, Ling Yun had already approached them. Boom. Akainu and the others' faces changed drastically, and they tried to resist, but... Crack. With a cracking sound, Ling Yun's attack was here. Boom. With the sound of an explosion, a huge shock wave swept down. It hit the ground, and the ground was instantly cracked into pieces. Countless rubble swept and shot at Akainu and his men like cannonballs. And these were just to disturb the sight. Ling Yun's fists poured out like a storm among the countless flying stones. With extremely powerful armed color domineering, it was also covered with the power of the shock fruit. Boom. Akainu's whole body turned into magma, and he blasted out punch after punch of magma cannon, but in front of Ling Yun's fist, he seemed weak. They were directly shattered and broken one by one, and hit his body. Puff. The fist hit Akainu's chest, making Akainu feel a huge force instantly spreading from his chest to his whole body. Immediately, the blood and chi in his body were shaking continuously, and he couldn't help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. Sakazuki. Kizaru and Aokiji's faces changed at the same time, and they immediately used their ultimate moves and attacked at the first time. Sword of the Sky Cloud. Ice Cube Two Thorns Spear. And Kaido seemed to know that once Ling Yun defeated Akainu, it would be difficult for the three of them to resist Ling Yun. So he immediately attacked Ling Yun and tried to save Zhao from Wei. Boom. The three people's attacks came at the same time, causing Ling Yun to twist his body and retreat, dodging the attack at the moment it was about to come. Cough cough, cough. Akainu's face was annoyed and angry, and there was a look of horror. Ling Yun's strength was stronger than when they were besieging before. The last time, the three of them could barely compete. Although they were seriously injured in the end, it was ultimately caused by their carelessness. If they acted cautiously, the three of them could completely resist Ling Yun's attack. And now, there are four of them working together. He was still severely injured by a single blow, which is really frightening. Sakazuki, how are you? Aokiji stared at Ling Yun in front of him and asked. It's okay, but his strength is more terrifying than we imagined, especially with the two devil fruit abilities, and the superposition of his extremely powerful armament haki, it is really hard to resist. And his powerful physical skills. Kizaru spoke in a deep voice. Humph, can't the four of us defeat this guy? Kaido's face was a little unwilling, and he couldn't help gritting his teeth. Akainu's face was also extremely green, but he hesitated for a moment, and still snorted, as if he was forcibly hiding his unwillingness and anger in his heart. He spoke hoarsely. Although I don't want to admit it, it's true. This monster was able to defeat our three generals last time, and now he has the blessing of the tremor fruit. I'm afraid it's difficult for us to take him down. Akainu's eyes were filled with resentment, and his face was full of frustration. He couldn't help but grit his teeth. He hadn't recovered from his last serious injury, and this time he was seriously injured by Ling Yun. If it continues, I'm afraid he will really die here. If he can bring the enemy to justice, then he will sacrifice himself, but he can't do it stupidly. Therefore, although he feels frustrated, he has no choice but to make this decision. The four of us can only work together to prevent him from breaking through one by one. Aokiji said solemnly. That's right, Kizaru nodded. Immediately, the four of them were back to back, each holding their own side. Beware of Ling Yun's attack. Originally, the four of them were besieging Ling Yun, but Fan Dejing looked as if Ling Yun was the only one besieging them. This was indeed a kind of helplessness. Ha 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 ha, the four of you are considered the top strong men in the world, but you are still so cowardly. Ling Yun stopped and looked at the four of them with contempt. HMPH, Ling Yun, don't think that your provocation will work on us. Akainu looked at Ling Yun with a playful look on his face turned pale. Hee. Ling Yun sneered and moved again. He attacked several people. But it seemed that they knew how powerful they were. The four of them never left. Once they attacked one of them, the other three would attack them with all their strength. They couldn't deal with one of them at ease. HMPH, you three admirals and the four emperors are really united. Endless ridicule surged on Ling Yun's face, but when things came to this point, he naturally knew that he had no way to deal with the other few people. Then I'll let you go this time. What a pity. After saying that, Ling Yun shook his head, couldn't help but laugh. The look in his eyes looked at them as if they were trophies, and the look in the video made the others shudder. Goodbye. Ling Yun laughed at the sky, and immediately stepped on the ground. The whole person shot up into the sky like a cannonball, flying towards the distant sky. Gradually disappeared into the sky. Seeing Ling Yun leave, they felt aggrieved and relieved at the same time. This monster finally left. Kaido couldn't help but feel relieved, but the next moment he quickly moved away from Akainu and others. He looked at them with a vigilant face. Humph, the mission failed, let's go back. And Akainu just glanced at Kaido and said coldly. Alas, this can't be blamed on us. It's really that Ling Yun has become too powerful. Kizaru nodded and said. Let's go. The three admirals of the Navy left quickly and rushed to the headquarters of the Navy, Marineford. As for Kaido, they have no ability and no time to care about him now. Seeing the three admirals of the Navy leave, Kaido angrily looked at the ruins here. Ling Yun, Jack and Doflamingo are both dead. A loyal subordinate was sacrificed. The channel to obtain artificial devil fruits, Doflamingo, was also completely lost, which also meant that he would never be able to form a super pirate group with all animal-type fruit ability users in the future. But even if he was extremely unwilling, Kaido could only leave angrily. He immediately turned into a blue dragon and left quickly. The pier of Dressrosa was already a ruin, and the scene returned to calm. However, 10,000 meters above the sky, an albatross was staring down, showing human excitement. Ha 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 ha, not bad, not bad. This former Navy Admiral Lin Lin is so powerful that he not only crushed the four emperors Kaido, but also forced the three Navy admirals to join forces with Kaido. That's fine, but the four of them together can't beat Ling Yun alone, it's really scary. Moreover, this Ling Yun actually has two devil fruit abilities, one of which is the tremor fruit possessed by Whitebeard. This is really indescribable world-class news. What? In Marshal Zhang Guzhong's office, Zhang Guzhong looked incredulous, staring at Akainu and the other two with his eyes wide open. According to his prediction, this time there should be a greater chance of taking the place. But it still failed. Marshal Zhang Guzhong, Ling Yun's power display has changed, as if it has been improved again. Aokiji spoke softly, frowning. What do you mean? Zhang Guo frowned. If we say that General Ling Yun has two devil fruit abilities, do you believe it? Aokiji sighed. Two devil fruit abilities. Hearing this, Zhang Guo was stunned at first. He then showed a look of doubt. It's not that I don't want to believe you, but you also know the rules about devil fruits in the sea. A person can only eat one devil fruit. If he eats a second devil fruit, he will explode and die because he can't bear the collision of the two forces. In history, I have never heard of anyone having two devil fruit abilities at the same time. Before Zhang Guo finished speaking, Kizaru gently interrupted him. That's true, but that's the fact. We also recorded it in advance, you can take a look. However, be mentally prepared, because in addition to showing the rubber fruit ability that is somewhat similar to the Straw Hat Boy last time, the devil fruit ability he showed this time is very. Kizaru paused when he got here. What is very? Zhang Guo asked confusedly and a little anxiously. Well, you can see it yourself. Kizaru turned on the video Den Den Mushi. Immediately, the eyes of the Den Den Mushi opened and projected a picture on the wall. It was Ling Yun who entered the Nika form. In addition to the one he has shown now, what other devil fruit ability does he have? Zhang Guo looked at it with a questioning look. Garp and Staff Officer Crane also looked at it curiously. This armament hockey. It seems that Ling Yun's strength has improved a lot. Garp narrowed his eyes and revealed a puzzled look. Then you say that at their age, their potential has been exhausted and there is not much room for improvement. Not to mention how long it has been since Ling Yun left. Why does it feel like there is such a significant improvement? It seems so. Staff Officer Crane also nodded, his face extremely solemn. However, as soon as the voice fell, they saw that Ling Yun on the screen suddenly displayed a devil fruit power that they were very familiar with. Crack. Bursts of cracking sounds rang out. In the screen, the air cracked. Suddenly, Zhongguo subconsciously stood up. Staring at the screen intently, his face was full of shock. Garp and Crane were all stunned, revealing an expression of disbelief. How is this possible? It's actually Whitebeard's devil fruit ability, the Tremor fruit. Yes, Marshal Sengoku, this is the ability of the Tremor fruit. Akainu spoke in a deep voice. We have confirmed it after the battle. As soon as this was said, Sengoku, Garp and others were silent. Why does Lingyun have Whitebeard's Tremor fruit? Sengoku frowned and looked at everyone. Could it be that Whitebeard is dead? Lingyun just got the power of this Tremor fruit. But, it's impossible. This is impossible. If Whitebeard is in trouble, how can the sea still be so calm? Staff Officer Crane shook his head and said calmly. So, Lingyun has the ability to control other people's devil fruits. Garp was stunned and couldn't help but exclaimed. Perhaps, this is the ability. Otherwise, how could he have that strange form, and the ability that is very similar to that of the Straw Hat Boy? Maybe the devil fruit he ate has a skill like copying. Staff Officer Crane frowned and said. Report it, along with this video. Zhongguo pondered for a while and said. Immediately, Zhongguo quickly reported to the Holy Land of Marihoa with the video. In Pangu City, 5 elders, this is what happened. The 5 elders looked at each other, their faces were extremely solemn. Since there is a video, hurry up. Release it. The 5 elders looked anxious and even a little panicked. Okay. Zhongguo frowned, as if he sensed something wrong, and the faces of the 5 elders all changed. This is actually this form. What's wrong? Zhongguo felt something wrong and asked. Logically, they should be more shocked that Ling Yun possessed the Gen fruit, but they were not. Instead, they were shocked when Ling Yun first appeared. But the 5 elders did not explain anything. They just looked at each other and nodded. Zhongguo, it seems that he does have the power of the 2 fruits, and his strength has been improved again. We feel incredible about these things and need to discuss them. You go back and wait for the results of our discussion. Zhongguo nodded after hearing this. Okay, then he stood up and left. As soon as Zhongguo left, the faces of the 5 elders became extremely solemn. You also saw it clearly, right? The blonde old man spoke. Well, the Tremor fruit is secondary. No matter how he obtained the ability of the Tremor fruit, it is not important. That's right. What's important is the form that Ling Yun showed, that is, his first fruit ability, which is actually that fruit. At this point, the 5 of them gathered their eyes, their faces were extremely solemn, and they slowly said the name of that fruit. Human fruit mythical beast species Nika form. At this time, all of them were completely lifted up in their hearts. An indescribable feeling lingered in their hearts. I really didn't expect that we had been on guard for so long and had been vigilant against that Straw Hat Boy. Later, we determined that the brutal boy could not awaken that fruit and were slightly relieved. But I never thought that this fruit could appear on a second person. And once it appeared, it was in the awakened state. Thinking of this, the 5 elders felt the seriousness of the situation more and more. No matter how you look at it, this is a targeted conspiracy. We can't come to a conclusion with our own strength, and it's a matter of great importance. We need to ask Lord I Am for instructions. The 5 elders Saint Jagarcia Satan, who was holding a cane and had a scar on his face, stood up and said slowly. Indeed, the other 5 elders nodded. Then, they immediately went to the deep flowers in Pangu City. At the same time, the terrifying power displayed by Lingyun in the battle against the 3 admirals and Kaido had been published in newspapers and spread all over the world. New World, Toteland, the world of nations. Countless islands are like stars, surrounding a huge main island. Cake Island. On Cake Island, it was afternoon tea time. Big Mom sat on the main seat, looking at her son Katakuri with a smile and asked. Katakuri, you are so anxious, is there something big happening? Yes, Mom. Something big happened outside. Katakuri spoke in a deep voice. Immediately, he quickly handed over a newspaper. Oh. Big Mom raised her eyebrows and took it. Only then did she look at it leisurely. But her face suddenly changed when she looked at it. The first thing Big Mom saw was the title, Shock. Former Navy Admiral Ling Yun fought against the 3 Navy Admirals and Kaido alone and had an absolute advantage. The reason was that he had 2 devil fruits, close double-angle bracket. How is this possible? Big Mom frowned. If she could use 2 devil fruits, she would have eaten them long ago. The iron rule that eating the second devil fruit will explode and die is not something that no one has challenged. Even she herself personally found prisoners to experiment, and the facts proved that it was true. But, how did this former Navy Admiral do it? Suspected to be the ability of the rubber fruit. Big Mom suddenly thought of a newcomer, who seemed to be called Straw Hat Luffy, who was the owner of the ability of the rubber fruit. But his strength is far inferior to that of the Admiral. The first one is an ability similar to the rubber fruit, and the name has not been made public, and he also has a second devil fruit. Big Mom continued to read with a half-believing and half-doubting mentality. But the next moment, Big Mom was shocked and her pupils shrank suddenly. I couldn't help but exclaim. How is this possible? It's actually the ability of Whitebeard's tremor fruit. Could it be that Whitebeard has already? Speaking of this, Big Mom's face was full of doubts. Big Mom suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. This Ling Yun is so powerful that he can actually fight 4 people alone. These 4 are the top masters on the sea, the 3 admirals of the navy, and the 4 emperors Kaido. It doesn't seem surprising that he killed Whitebeard alone. But the most terrifying thing is that he has obtained this power to destroy the world. Mom, I have sent people to investigate the truth of the matter. I believe that with our intelligence capabilities, we will soon have a conclusion. Katakuri said in a deep voice. Big Mom heard this and showed a look of relief in her eyes. Nodded, we must find out as quickly as possible. Understood. Please rest assured, Mom. Big Mom nodded, and the figure of Ling Yun emerged in her mind inexplicably. There is an indescribable sense of crisis in my heart. On the other side, in a certain sea area in the new world of the Grand Line. Dressrosa Island is drifting in the wind. Red hair, how is it? Ben Beckman looked at the red-haired young man in front of him, took a puff of cigarette slowly, and then asked. Well, it is indeed quite shocking. The red-haired man's face was solemn. Yes, there are 3 things that shocked us about Ling Yun. One is that he has the power of Whitebeard's tremor fruit. Logically speaking, it is impossible for 2 identical devil fruit abilities to appear in the world. If you want to have a devil fruit ability, you must kill the current devil fruit ability owner and then find a way to possess his fruit and eat it. If this logic is followed, does it mean that Whitebeard is dead? Ben Beckman looked solemn and talked freely. Yeah, so I also find it unbelievable, so I immediately sent a large number of people to Whitebeard's place to determine Whitebeard's current situation, whether he is dead or alive. Red hair has restrained his casualness in the past, and his face is solemn. Don't be careless. Ben Beckman nodded and continued. If Whitebeard is really killed, and even his fruit ability is obtained by others, but there is no news at all, it proves that there is something strange about this matter itself. The leader of the 4 emperors died so silently, which is unlikely. Unless the enemy destroyed the entire Whitebeard pirates, leaving no one alive. If this is true, then, it proves that Ling Yun's strength has far surpassed the 4 emperors. And this is after killing Whitebeard he just got the tremor fruit. With the blessing of the tremor fruit, his strength is even more terrifying. Ben Bateman analyzed slowly. The red-haired man on the side, as well as the silent Jesus Bu and others, were in a heavy mood. If things are really as Beckman analyzed, then Ling Yun is definitely the world's #1 strong man, no one else. He can resist the 4 emperors, he can be on par with the 4 emperors, he can defeat the 4 emperors, he can kill the 4 emperors, he can kill the entire 4 emperors group silently. These are not the same level of strength. The last one is extremely terrifying. Exclamation mark. But there is another possibility, that is, Ling Yun has mastered some kind of ability to copy devil fruits. If this is the case, it's better. At least it proves that his strength is not so high that the entire 4 emperors group disappears silently. If this is the case, He has a devil fruit ability very similar to Luffy, or perhaps its superior fruit. The specific name is unknown, but the strength is much stronger. Quote, or the fruit ability he possesses is the rubber fruit that Luffy possesses, but it is just copied and awakened. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Red Hair smiled. Fortunately, it has been confirmed that Luffy is safe, otherwise it can be almost concluded. Now let's wait for Lagiru to go and find out the news about Whitebeard. Yeah, Ben Beckman responded, and then continued to remind his companions. In fact, the probability of Whitebeard being killed is not high. The analysis just now is only slightly comprehensive. It is more likely that Lingyun has mastered some kind of power to copy the devil fruit ability. But even so, his strength is far beyond you and me, and we still need to be extremely vigilant. Yeah, okay. Red Hair nodded seriously and issued an order on the spot. From now on, before Lagiru has received the news that the Whitebeard pirates are still alive, we need to keep a low profile for a while. Do you understand? Quote, understood. The crew nodded. After issuing a series of orders, Red Hair finally breathed a sigh of relief and stood by the railing with Beckman, looking at the sea, and couldn't help sighing. I didn't expect that the former Admiral of the Navy would become so powerful and love killing. It's really unpredictable. Quote, New World. Dad, there is big news, Dad. With loud shouts, everyone looked at the sky. In the sky, Marco, who had turned into an immortal bird, was flying down quickly with a newspaper in his hand. Hualala, Marco, you are back. What is the big news? Let me see it. It is really boring to sit here without even a drink. A man with a pair of white beards in a crescent shape was smiling and speaking. Dad, it is really big news, and it is related to you. Oh, Whitebeard was stunned, and then his face became worried. Is it news about Ace? No, it is about the former Admiral Lingyun. Look, it is good that it is not bad news about Ace. Whitebeard smiled and took the newspaper. But soon, the smile on his face gradually became solemn. 2 devil fruit abilities. 1 person fought against the Admiral of the Navy, the 4 Emperors Kaido, and the 4 top masters. And he even had the upper hand. How is this possible? Whitebeard showed shock on his face. Dad, the more shocking thing is still to come. Whitebeard immediately continued to look back after hearing what Marco said. According to analysis, the first devil fruit of the former Admiral Lingyun is very similar to the rubber fruit of Straw Hat Luffy. It is suspected to be the superior fruit of the latter. And the ability of its second devil fruit has been confirmed to be. Seeing this, Whitebeard was shocked all over. The whole person stood up suddenly. This is impossible. The voice resounded like thunder, and his eyes showed a strong disbelief. How can he have the power of my tremor fruit? How is this possible? Feeling the still abundant tremor fruit power in his body, Whitebeard felt deeply suspicious. However, when he looked at a photo, he was stunned again. The photo above was clearly of Lingyun using the power of the tremor fruit. Because he was familiar with his devil fruit, he recognized it at first sight. It really is my power. And it has definitely awakened. How did he do it? Whitebeard was shocked at this time. Everyone knows the power of the tremor fruit, and this Lingyun, could it be that he also relied on it to complete the leap of strength? Being able to copy the power of the fruit out of thin air and quickly awaken it, this ability alone is enough to defy the heavens. Whitebeard was horrified and couldn't help exclaiming. Yes, Marco nodded in response. However, Whitebeard's face suddenly changed. Not good. Let's go to our territory quickly. I must appear in front of the world as quickly as possible, otherwise others will think that I, Whitebeard, am dead. The people in the territory will be persecuted by other pirates. Yes, immediately, the Moby Dick quickly drove towards the nearest territory. Whitebeard was already sitting on his car again. But the shock in his heart could not be calmed down. Regardless of why Lingyun had such a powerful copying ability, or his own strength, he felt uneasy. Even though Whitebeard was confident that he was such a powerful person, he still questioned that he was not the opponent of the other party. Whether or not he has become so powerful because of my tremor fruit, his strength has indeed surpassed mine. And he seems to be causing trouble everywhere. It seems that this sea is going to change. Thinking of this, Whitebeard couldn't help but sigh, with deep worry in his eyes. Have you heard that the former Admiral Lingyun fought 1 against 4 and still had the upper hand? Tisk, he is an admiral, what's so strange about fighting 1 against 4? But the key is these 4 people, 3 of them are admirals of the Navy. General, 1 is the 4 emperors Kaido. Wow, is this true? Too scary, he actually has such a strong power, facing the joint forces of the 3 admirals of the Navy and Kaido, he can still gain the upper hand, is he still a human being? I heard that the former Admiral Lingyun has become extremely bloodthirsty, I don't know if he will suddenly go crazy and find us. Don't say it, I'm scared. I hope the world government and the Navy will arrest him as soon as possible. What a pity, how could the former Admiral of the Navy end up like this? I heard it was Ling Yun who joined the Navy with bad intentions from the beginning and had a conspiracy. The news about Ling Yun's battle also spread all over the world quickly. It shocked countless people. At the same time, countless civilians trembled, fearing that they would be affected. And the major pirate forces also lay dormant and no longer high profile. On a dark island, in a castle. It's incredible. What on earth made this former admiral of the Navy become what he is now? Hawkeye said to himself calmly with a newspaper in his hand. And how did he do it? I remember that the previous Admiral Ling Yun clearly didn't have such terrible power. What happened? Hawkeye was puzzled. Daughter Island Amazon. Ha ha ha, it's the news about Admiral Ling Yun. The Queen's eyes lit up and she smiled. Admiral Ling Yun, I'm glad nothing happened. Humph, that group of Navy and Celestial Dragons all deserve to die, Admiral Ling Yun should have killed them all. At this time, Ling Yun, who killed the Celestial Dragons, was already a hero in the eyes of the Empress, who already disliked the Navy and the world government and hated the Celestial Dragons. If she hadn't needed to take her country and citizens into consideration, she would have wanted to cheer for Ling Yun herself. Devil's Delta. In the perennial smoke, on the terrifying 3-masted sail. Hey, I didn't expect Kaido to be so embarrassed. He. It's a pity that I couldn't kill Kaido. Mogaku Mariah showed regret on his face. He had challenged Kaido in his early years, but was defeated. Mogaku Mariah hated Kaido very much in his heart, but unfortunately he was not strong enough and couldn't take revenge. But, speaking of this Admiral Ling Yun, he is also abnormally strong. Mogaku Mariah couldn't help but be secretly shocked when he looked at the newspaper. You know, this is the combination of the 3 admirals of the Navy and Kaido. No matter which strong man, it is far beyond the ability of Mogaku Mariah to contend with, and these 4 people combined, they can't beat Ling Yun alone. You can imagine how powerful he is. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.